And welcome to Daytona International Speedway on this 4th of July weekend, where a sellout crowd of more than 200,000 racing fans have gathered to witness this spectacle under the lights. Tonight's crowd comprises the largest gathering for a nighttime sporting event in America. How bright are the lights here? Powerful enough to light more than 24,000 residential blocks, and once the sun goes down on Daytona tonight, the speedway will be as bright as daylight. The drivers, well, they're as calm as can be before the storm. Bobby Labonte, number 2 in the point standings. Popular Bill Elliott preparing to get underway. Sterling Marlin, who won his first Winston Cup race here at Daytona. Mike Skinner starting 8th here this evening. And the rookie Tony Stewart. Is this his night? We shall see. From our vantage point just above Victory Lane, good evening from Daytona International Speedway. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for making us a part of your holiday weekend. Tonight, CBS and NASCAR are about to make you a part of history as we get set to broadcast the first ever live auto race on primetime network television. 43 of America's greatest drivers will be providing the fireworks as they rocket around the track at speeds of 200 miles per hour while competing for over $2.5 million in this 400-mile, 160-lap event. Tonight's race will mark the halfway point in this NASCAR season, as 17 of the 34 races will have been completed by night's end. Here's the way the point standings stack up going into tonight's Pepsi 400. Dale Jarrett is the points leader. Trailing him, Bobby Labonte, and then Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, and the rookie Tony Stewart. The man who usually finds himself atop those standings is Jeff Gordon. He's won 3 of the last 4 Winston Cup championships, but this season to date has not lived up to his lofty standards. Dick Berggren is standing by with last year's Pepsi 400 winner right now.
Thanks, Greg. And Jeff Gordon surely is one of the favorites to win this race tonight. He has won 4 of the last 8 here at Daytona, the last 2 in a row. What's it take to win these things?
Well, it takes a fast race car, and we certainly have that. Takes, you know, just being smooth and patient. And, a drafted partner wouldn't hurt, but I didn't have any of those in February, so we've got our work cut out for us again here today.
He's also got his work cut out for him because of where he starts. There has not been a winner starting further back than 10th in the last 18 Daytona races. He starts 11th. Terrell Shaheen.
Dale Jarrett comes into the Pepsi 400 as the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, but he's starting this race a little bit deeper in the field than you would have liked, Dale, but you got some fast cars back here with you. Got Dale Earnhardt just in front of you and Jeff Gordon just to your left. Which driver will you choose to follow up to the front as you try to freight train to the top?
Well, it'll be hard to tell exactly, but this 3 car is pretty good in the draft, so we'll probably hang with him for a while. Long race, so we got plenty of time to get there. We're really in pretty good position. This is a good car for the race, so we look forward to it. Hopefully we can follow him up there, and then when it gets time, we can get in front.
Dale Jarrett will start 12th here tonight to Bill Stevens.
Dale Earnhardt has led more laps on this racetrack than any other driver, but for the second time in 3 years, he's starting an event here shortly after his son Dale Jr. was involved in a racing accident. In 1997 in the Busch race, Dale Jr. crashed before his dad ran in the 500. This afternoon in Milwaukee, Dale Jr. hurt again, practicing for the Milwaukee race tomorrow. Dale, does that hurt you to keep focus for the race tonight?
I talked to him right before we got in the car here, and he practiced this afternoon. He's feeling pretty good, so let's get through this race tonight, and then we'll see how he's doing tomorrow. But, you know, it's a tough race right here. So everybody's going to be really trying to go for it, so we'll have to be careful at the first. Just hopefully we can be around at the end.
He will start 10th tonight. Back upstairs to Gray.
All right, Bill, thanks very much as the drivers get ready and the fans are ready too for the spectacle under the lights. They're just about ready to start tonight's festivities. Let's go trackside and listen in.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the invocation by the Reverend Hal Marchman, and then please remain standing as on this 4th of July weekend, representing our fine American youth, 12-year-old Aaron Hughes of Cape Coral, Florida, sings our national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank the Daytona Beach Police Department Color Guard and the United States Navy VFR Fighter Squadron 106 from Cecil Field in Jacksonville, Florida.
and gentlemen, what a night for NASCAR racing. A night to celebrate history, a night to celebrate heritage as we prepare for the 41st running of the Pepsi 400.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, the Grand Marshal of the 41st Pepsi 400 from Subway Restaurants, Mr. Fred DeLuca.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
National anthem well sung, high fives exchanged by the pit crews, and joining me now is Ken Squire, who was here for CBS's first live broadcast in 1979. Evening, Ken.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, folks around the country. That independent spirit, that wonderful feeling of commitment that comes out of the United States is certainly well represented throughout this entire 43-car field, but perhaps nowhere more than in the front row. There you have Joe Nemechek, who's never been a winner. Up there, got it together, put it on the point, and beside him, 20-time winner, having a hard year, Ricky Rudd. He has put himself outside of the front row. But just as dramatic is the story of the car in third place in qualifying. Last night, final moments of practice. Car number 6, Mark Martin, at over 190 miles per hour, slams the wall with a cut-down tire, destroys the primary race car, and nearly destroyed himself. A broken wrist, a bent knee, a battered guy, but no one better represents this sport than Mark Martin, who later said, "I'm in a lot of pain in a lot of places, but if they said we were going to start this race in 5 minutes, I'd be there and I'd be in it."
He'd be one of the great ones to watch tonight, too.
He will be one of the greats from dead on last.
With race time right around the corner, let's take you upstairs to the gentleman who will be calling tonight's event, Mike Joy, Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker. Good evening, gentlemen.
Thanks, Craig, and hi, everyone. This has been a 400-mile sprint of surprises. It's seen as many as 48 different lead changes, 14 different leaders, 5 times decided by a last lap pass, and twice the leader with 1 lap to go lost the lead and got it back on the way to the checkered flag. 1983, after leading this race 17 times in his 21 years of trying, Buddy Baker, car number 21, the Wood Brothers Ford, beat Terry Labonte to the finish line and won what was to be his final Winston Cup victory. Buddy, that race was won and run beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning. Tonight, we'll still be racing at 10 o'clock at night. You ran some laps around here under the lights. How is it different?
Well, the one thing I noticed when I tested here last year under the lights was the visibility is so wonderful on the racetrack, and it stays very consistent, the racetrack itself. You don't have to tolerate the sun and making the racetrack very slick.
So I'll turn to Ned Jarrett, our CBS race strategist and twice national champion. Ned, why are people saying this could be a better race tonight than it ever was in the daytime in a closer race?
One thing, Mike, the track stays much more consistent at night. With the sun going behind clouds sometimes in the daytime, it would change the track characteristics. They don't expect that here tonight. The cooler temperatures lets them run faster, but also I think we'll see more side-by-side racing than we've seen in the past in the 400 miles because it was such a handling race in the past, and that counts here tonight, but not as much as in the past. And so I think that we'll see many cars running close together, 2, 3, and 4 abreast.
I think so too. We saw a lot of 3-wide racing in practice last night. Well, cinch up your seatbelt and get set for the start of the 41st annual Pepsi 400 here on CBS.
CBS 40.
Field goes into the west banking, turns 1 and 2 of this 2.5-mile super speedway. It was only up to 86 degrees today, but very muggy in Florida, and it has scarcely cooled. Temperature is 83, humidity 70%, a nice breeze out of the east at 9 to cool these fans. Trackside, the asphalt's 102 degrees. It's 97 degrees on board these cars. As we take a look at the starting lineup for the 41st Pepsi 400. Third career pole and first in 2 years for Joe Nemechek, and Ricky Rudd, his first front row start in 15 years at Daytona. Mark Martin, winner at Rockingham, third in the points. Chad Little equals his personal best. Rusty Wallace, a winner at Bristol this year, the '89 Series champ, and what a sensation. rookie Tony Stewart has been. Sterling Marlin, his last win came here 3 years ago. Mike Skinner was fourth in the 500 this year at Daytona. Bobby Labonte second in the points, 2-race winner this year. Dale Earnhardt has won this race twice, 7-time national champion. Jeff Gordon going for his 3rd straight win at Daytona. Dale Jarrett's won the 500 here twice. Michael Waltrip and Bill Elliott, Elliott in a Ford, twice the winner of this race. Wally Dallenbach, the former Trans Am champion, and road racer Jerry Nadeau. Jimmy Spencer got his first win here in 1994, and Bobby Hamilton, a car that's won here 3 times. Then it's John Andretti, the 97 winner, and Jeremy Mayfield, 8th in the points. Jeffrey Bodine won the 86 Daytona 500. Dave Marcus starts his 62nd Winston Cup Daytona race. Buckshot Jones is a rookie, opposite last year's Rookie of the Year, Kenny Irwin Jr. Ward Burton was 7th here last year. Rich Bickle has a top 10 this season. David Green, the 94 Busch Series champion, and Kenny Wallace. Then it's Elliott Sadler, the rookie for the Wood brothers, and comeback kid Ricky Craven, first ride for a new team. Loy Allen, his 2nd start this year, and 92 winner Ernie Irvan. Johnny Benson, the 95 Busch champion, and Brent Bodine in row 17. 3-time Winston Cup champ Darrell Waltrip with Kenny Schrader in row 18. Then the provisional starters, Jeff Burton had trouble in qualifying. Terry Labonte, 2-time Winston Cup champ. Kyle Petty and Kevin LePage. Then in row 21, Rick Mast and Ted Musgrave. Finally, coming back off a hard flip at Sears Point last week is Steve Bart. Now Mark Martin will line up 3rd, but on the final pace lap, because this is a backup car, he will drop to the tail end of the starting lineup.
There are 5 drivers who failed to qualify for this race: Jared Cope, Tut Strickland, Ken Bouchard, Robert Presley, and Stanton Berry.
Manufacturers breakdown. There's 19 Fords in the night's event, 16 Chevrolets, 8 Pontiacs. Ford leads the Manufacturers Championship.
Race analysis. They'll go for 160 laps, which is 400 miles. There are 43 cars starting this race. They'll run for over $2.5 million in prize money. The fuel window here is from 50 to 60 laps. 60 laps might be a little bit on the outside. The race record was set back in 1980 by Bobby Allison with over 173 miles an hour.
Taking a look at the Daytona International Tri-Oval is 2.5 miles around this racetrack. Places to watch: turns 2 and turns 4. The reason for that: 31-degree corners, bank 31 degrees, 3 degrees on the straightaway. The transition very hard on the drivers coming out of the corners. That is 31 degrees right there.
Gonna ride with Tony Stewart, the Home Depot cam, starting at 6th, and then Joe Gibbs Pontiac. Mike Skinner, the Lowe's onboard camera in his Richard Childress Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt, 7-time series champion, the GM Goodwrench Plus cam, starting 10th. Jeff Gordon, he'll be carrying a CBS race cam tonight from 11th starting position. Dale Jarrett, Ford Credit, Ford Quality Care camera, that Robert Yates Ford going off 12th. The Butt cam for Wally Dallenbach starting 15th. Our Visa onboard camera in the Ford of Jeremy Mayfield, starting 20th. And the Texaco Haviland camera on Kenny Irwin's Ford, starting 24th. Coming to green this time on the biggest Saturday night in the 51-year history of NASCAR.
It's a beautiful sight. The cars, the people, and when it really gets dark here, it is going to be something.
When they get the green, watch for a 43-car freight train as they haul around here. It'll take them 2 laps to get up to 190 miles an hour.
Boy, right now the driver's knees are knocking, but when the green comes out, it's business as usual.
The Pontiac pace car is in, and the field addresses itself to the starting line for 160 laps, 400 miles, and we're racing. Mid-pack.
Rusty Wallace already in 3rd place as they head down into turn 3. These guys are going at it early in this race. Tony Stewart's broke away from a few of the drivers there in the 20 car.
Front 4 or 5, single out. And here they come, 3 wide through the tri-oval here at Daytona. Bobby Labonte dips down on the inside, moves up to 4th.
Joe Nemechek leads the first lap. It's the 3rd race he's led this year. He has led 8 laps at Daytona, but never in the July race. From Tony Stewart.
He is caught in the middle here, Mike, a place that he doesn't want to be. See the car on the outside. There's one down on the inside as well.
Well, that's no man's land, buddy.
There goes Jimmy Spencer in the 23. Right now, you can see Tony Stewart in a lot of trouble. He's backing up through the field there. You don't want to get in the middle. There's no draft in the center part there. The cars nose to tail have a lot of pull and push there.
Finally got an opening, Mike. It took a long time. And here's Sterling Marlin. He's in the middle there as well. And sometimes you can't help that when somebody pulls out, gets on the inside of you, as Bobby Labonte does there now. So Sterling Marlin in a very bad situation going through the tri-oval here down in the middle of the group.
Number 40, Sterling Marlin, qualified up front, but now they double train him on either side. It's like he's parked at the siding.
And the one thing he has to watch, too, he has to run a true line around the racetrack, because if he goes either way, he's going to have contact with the car on either side.
Lead change, Ricky Rudd pulling that outside lane. He's got a Ford of Chad Little to help him along, then Mike Skinner's 31 Chevrolet. Rudd leads into turn 3. Here's the 42 of Nemechek pulling the inside lane train on the bottom.
With Rusty Wallace right on his back bumper, pushing him up through there.
2 laps complete. Nemechek's led them both. Ricky Rudd, his sponsor, announced last week they're leaving. He's out to show them they're wrong. Nemechek led that lap, but not by much. Certainly not by a car length.
No, and Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, that dark blue car there, is really giving him a good run there as he stays right on his back bumper. You can see Rusty really helping him as far as the draft goes. There's a turbulence that's built up by the first car that pulls the second car forward, and that wall of air pushes that front car forward.
Here they are, 3 wide back in the pack there again.
We'll see a lot of that tonight. We saw it all during practice. Jeff Bodine is the man in the middle, right there toward the right side of your screen. Now, he was the driver who let Tony Stewart back in line, but now they're going around either side of him.
Yeah, and don't touch your TV set. Jeff Bodine was sideways there in the middle part. He got caught just a little bit. These cars are very air sensitive, and when a car in the middle gets pulled a little bit sideways, it's very difficult to get it back straight again.
All right, Mark Martin started in the back, broken wrist. Can he get a full measure of grip on the wheel and get to the front? Dick Berggren.
He really can't, Mike. He just radioed to his crew and said, you guys are working with an one-armed driver. He also asked them to remind him, if he is about to crash, remind him to take his hands off the wheel so he doesn't injure that left wrist even further.
There is Martin battling Steve Park, and that is at 33rd position.
So he has moved up about 10 positions since this race started.
Driver who's gained the most, Jeff Burton, started 37th after having qualifying trouble and not completing his qualifying lap. He's come to 24th.
And now that outside line beginning to move away a little bit. Ricky Rudd pulling the 97 car. That's the green car right here of Chad Little, having a great run here so far.
As you look at our rundown upper left of your screen, in these boxes, if you see a position displayed in red, that driver has lost a position the last time around. A driver whose position number is green, like Sterling Marlin's, has gained 1 or more positions. Let's ride with Jeff Gordon, the defending Winston Cup champ.
Down into turn 1, just behind Rusty Wallace in the 2 car there. Dale Jarrett, or right on the outside there in the 88 car. You see the cars bouncing a lot. The surface of the racetrack has quite a few bumps there, and they run these cars pretty soft to keep them really tacked to the racetrack, so you'll see a lot of car movement.
From the back of Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet, Rusty Wallace, the blue car to the inside. Just the way they started, there's Gordon and Jarrett side by side with Earnhardt.
There's Earnhardt up on the outside in the black number 3.
Got to remember, he started in 10th, and right now he's on the outside lane there, and they seem to be getting a little bit better draft, as Ned said, on the outside now.
They are 5th, 6th, and 7th. Ricky Rudd's the leader. Chad Little, both in Fords. Mike Skinner and Joe Nemechek in Chevrolets, and then this pack. Earnhardt, Wallace, Jarrett, and Gordon.
And we said, well, why aren't those guys down on the inside at that outside get up there.
Well, you don't have the luxury of just turning right at 200 miles an hour. You have to wait until you get an opportunity to move over.
From Dale Jarrett's Ford, looking ahead at Dale Earnhardt's Chevrolet. Moving up on Joe Nemechek is that car, the purple car, there on the inside. And Rusty Wallace, number 2, right behind him, and Gordon.
Now I'll look for the inside lane to really pick up speed as Jeff Gordon gets behind the number 2 car there of Rusty Wallace. Those guys really work well in the draft together, and they trust each other quite a bit.
That was Dale Jarrett's spotter. Bob Jeffrey, we heard there. He's doing a good job. Not a whole lot he can do there, but sit there and keep the foot to the floorboard and hope that line moves.
Talk about your rush hour traffic. 93 yards per second. That's how fast they're traveling. From Dale Earnhardt, looking back at Dale Jarrett, you could step from one bumper to the next.
You could that.
Speeds.
Yeah. And I tell you what, you have to have a lot of confidence in that car behind you and the car in front of you. You have to trust the man. And right now, these guys are starting to pair up. It's who they want to run with in the early stages of this race.
Everybody that is sitting of the 200,000 fans that are here are right on the edge of their seat. If any one of these cars gets sideways, the next 15 or so can't help but be swept up in the accident. That's what took Jarrett out of the Daytona 500 in February. Ricky Rudd. Every year for the last decade and a half, he has won at least one Winston Cup race. This year, he has struggled. He comes in here 38th in the point standings. One top 10 finish. It's not been Ricky Rudd's year, but it looked like for the Chesapeake, Virginia driver, it could be his night.
Well, it's early in the race, and there's going to be a lot of adjustments on these cars to make them handle better. Right now, you're experimenting quite a bit as to what you need for later on in the race, but it does look good for Ricky Rudd. He has a great race car right now.
Jeremy Mayfield has moved up 7 positions since the start of this race. He's the teammate to Rusty Wallace.
That's John Andretti in the 43, the blue car there on the inside, and just in front of him, Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car.
9 laps complete, 10 of 160 this time by. Ricky Rudd's Ford continues to lead the Pepsi 400 at Daytona.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
CBS Sports Live coverage of the Pepsi 400. Pole sitter Joe Nemechek led the first 4 laps. Ricky Rudd's Ford went out in front and has stayed there. I'm corrected. Rudd's best finish this year is only 14th. As that bright orange Ford leads the pack. Nemechek second. Rusty Wallace is third. No change there. Jeff Gordon, Mike Skinner, Dale Earnhardt. But Chad Little has dropped to the 7th spot, just ahead of Bill Elliott, Michael Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett, your top 10.
Those top 10 have gotten out in single file now, Mike. A little less nerve-wracking for them. And back in the pack, though, they're still running side by side as we see this group coming right here.
Side by side back at 13. There they come. Sterling Marlin, number 40, on the outside of Michael Waltrip, number 7, both Chevrolets.
And Jimmy Spencer in the 23 there on the high side.
Hey, look at Jeff Burton right there going out of frame. He started 37th. He is up to 17th. That black and pink car of Burton's flying after having qualifying trouble and not completing a time lap.
Yeah, he had engine trouble qualifying, started right in the back of the field, but he is flying up through there. The car seems to be working quite well for him.
Jeff Burton currently 4th in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings.
For more on Jeff Burton's march to the front, here's Bill Stevens.
Mike, earlier today I talked to crew chief Frank Stoddard. He told me that the car that Jeff is running this weekend is not even their best speedway car. They have another car that's even slipperier, was faster in terms of the wind tunnel performance that it had, but that car is brand new. They wanted to bring a car here that they had more racing miles on, so they got to be thrilled with the way that car is moving. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Bill, Ricky Rudd doesn't have any teammates to go testing with to get extra information, so instead of being able to afford that, he has gone out and hired himself a second driver. That would be Andy Hillenberg, who has won races here at Daytona in ARCA stock car competition. He's utilizing Andy during practice sessions to go out and make laps on his own, get his own feeling for the car, and share information with Andy Hillenberg. Ricky has said he really likes the setup that Andy has come up with, and that is one of the key reasons in qualifying so well here this weekend.
3 wide at the start-finish line, and Ricky Rudd almost got a bump that sent him up the racetrack. As they battled for the lead, Nemechek got caught out there.
And Rusty Wallace leading Jeff Gordon off the second corner right now. And as long as these guys run side by side, that front tube should pull away just a little bit.
The dark blue car, Rusty Wallace, now on point ahead of Jeff Gordon. Only the 4th race that Rusty has led this year, and the first time he's led since Martinsville in April. Let's go on board with Dale Earnhardt and our onboard telemetry from wrenchhead.com.
You want to talk about 200 miles an hour? You're riding at 200 miles an hour down through the tri-oval towards turn 1 right now. You can see 6,900 with the restrictor plate motor. You don't turn them like you do when they're non-restricted. You don't have the fuel or air going to the motor to turn it up, but the cars are so aerodynamic. 200 miles an hour with probably 150 less horsepower than they have with the non-restricted motor.
Ned, that's his teammate Mike Skinner just ahead. At this point in the race, is there any advantage to running with a teammate?
Oh, yes. Yes, first of all, you have someone you can trust, and then also you have a car that's prepared very similar to what yours is, and most of the time the teammate will work with you to moving through the traffic.
3.5 billion candle power of light. Maybe it is brighter than daylight here at Daytona International Speedway. It sure is close.
I know one thing, and Ned hit a good point just a little while ago. Look, 3 wide down into turn 1, and nobody's even come close to touching each other yet. Jeremy Mayfield in the 12, though, right now, as you can see, caught in the middle, dropping back.
For more on race leader Rusty Wallace, here's Dick Berggren.
The book on Rusty Wallace used to be that he was just no good on restrictor plate racetracks. He had a tough time finishing up front. Indeed, he had a tough time finishing at all. He turned all that around last year. And indeed, this year in the Daytona 500 with this very car, he led more laps than anybody else. 104 of those laps were Rusty Wallace's. Took the car to Talladega, got involved in a big wreck. They cut the car up, rebuilt it, brought it back here to Daytona, and right off the trailer, this thing has been absolutely blinding fast. Rusty Wallace is proving that there was never anything wrong with him. He just didn't have the right race car here at Daytona. Not until today, anyway.
He had a good car in February. He led the most laps of anyone, so he had a pretty good race car. You never want to tear up your super speedway race car because you probably have $100,000 in wind tunnel time on that one body. When you tear it up, it's hard to replace.
You are watching from Jeff Gordon, who has won the last 3 Daytona restrictor plate races, ahead at Rusty Wallace, who has never won a 400 or a 500 here. Ford leading Chevrolet, Mike Skinner, Dale Earnhardt in Chevys, Chad Little in a Ford. That green Ford has moved back up to 5th place and taken Dale Jarrett along with him, 6th. Ricky Rudd drops in line in 7th. On the right side of your screen, that white hooded car is Joe Nemechek, the pole sitter. Now here's Earnhardt, buddy, trying a little higher line down into turn 1 up the racetrack. Why?
What he's looking for right now, I think he has a car that's really, really quick, and he's working with the 31 Mike Skinner. Mike may have a little handling deficiency right now, and he might be a little loose or something. And he says, don't run directly under me. It makes me a loose off the corner. He may be helping his teammate right now, maybe not.
And he might be making a move like that, hoping his teammate would see him and say, hey, maybe we need to move up here one time. Of course, they can do that by radio. Not that they would talk to each other, but their spotters could talk to each other and maybe help convey a message.
Now, you see all these cars coming in the second pack back here running side by side. These cars running nose to tail will eventually break away from those cars if they keep running side by side.
But it's got to be frustrating, though, to follow a car and think you can break out and pass, and when you pull up to him, nothing there.
That's what he was looking on the outside for. Now we know. He was looking Mike Skinner over, and he probably radioed in to tell him, I have a real fast car. I'm coming by on the outside. Let's go to the front.
Restrictor plate racing at the 2 fastest NASCAR tracks, Daytona and Talladega. Dick Berggren, what does that mean, and how does it reduce the horsepower of these cars?
Well, what it basically means, Mike, is that these restrictor plates, which are attached to the intake manifold, between that manifold and the carburetor, cut the amount of air that goes into the engine by about a half. That cuts the horsepower down from around 750 horsepower to around 450 horsepower, and it keeps the speed somewhat reasonable. If you consume that 190 miles an hour is a reasonable speed. Without these things, we'd be well over 200 miles an hour. With them, it creates these tight, exciting packs of race cars running at over $190.
Hear that noise? That's for Dale Earnhardt, who just passed Jeff Gordon to move up into second spot and right up onto Rusty Wallace.
And Ned, the way that car is going, there's going to be some more noise made in just a second, because the three cars, the Earnhardt is lightning fast, and it looks to be Hamlin anyway and anywhere on the racetrack.
Thing that impressed me, he didn't have to have a partner to go with him. He just pulled out there and made the pass. He knows how to work the draft, and the draft is when one car goes through and bursts the air open, he knows how to work it. A lot of people says Dale Earnhardt can see the air. Sometimes you wonder.
Bookmark that move, folks, because you'll see it again later on tonight. CBS Sports coverage of the Pepsi 400 continues after this message and a word from your local CBS station. As you watch from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes based in Pompano Beach, Dan Thomas from Endeavor, Wisconsin is at the controls, giving these great overhead views of Daytona International Speedway under the lights. Moments ago, Dale Earnhardt made a run in the middle of the back straightaway to try to take the lead away from Rusty Wallace.
Yes, coming off the corner, Earnhardt makes a move to the inside. Rusty Wallace, hey, that's the racetrack up there. The leader has the option to block if he wants to, but that won't last, I don't think, Ned.
They were going at it. Earnhardt was trying every way in the world to get around Rusty Wallace, and they still up there trying to get around him as they jockey back there for the third position. Mike Skinner has it. Jeff Gordon, Chad Little running side by side.
The one thing it did do, they broke away from that second pack as they were running side by side. The two cars of Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt hooked up, and they pulled about a 10-car deficit on everybody else. But look at them come back on them now.
Mike Skinner's pulled up into third spot on Chad Little, and while we were away, Loy Allen and Ricky Craven made unscheduled pit stops. They're both back on track. Rousheen.
Mike, Kevin Hamlin is the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. Kevin, your car looks very fast. He's been running high and low. How good is this car handling? Do you have any problems with it?
No, not really. The GM Goodrich Service Plus Chevrolet's been running strong all weekend. We haven't run a whole lot. It's just a matter of getting in the right line at the right time. It's a crapshoot right now for all of us.
I saw some of Ricky Rudd's crew members over here talking to you about rounds of pit stops and if they can come in with you. How long can you go?
We're just going to play that by ear.
Playing those cars close to their chest, Mike.
I think they are.
Jeff Gordon beginning to drop back just a little bit here now. He's got caught on the inside line. I think the outside line right now is working the best. Now he moves up there into that outside.
Ned, this car right here also was on the inside lane as they started in turn 3, and he's out the throttle, so that lap traffic right there a problem for Gordon.
That was Loy Allen, former Daytona 500 pole sitter, but with another team. We're told there's a raindrop or two in turn 2 and on pit road. Partly cloudy skies, so just one of those little tiny thunder cells that comes across Daytona Beach in the early evening, very often in the summertime. NASCAR has observers stationed all around the racetrack, and if it gets wet enough to hinder the competition, they'll put out the yellow flag. But so far, we stay green with Rusty Wallace, now leading Dale Earnhardt's teammate, the former NASCAR truck champion, Mike Skinner in the 31. Then Earnhardt, Chad Little, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, and Bill Elliott.
And Bobby Labonte is one driver who had dropped back there in the early going, but now he is bringing his car back up towards the front.
That's the second green car in the front pack. The first is Chad Little's. The second is Bobby Labonte's, just ahead of the blue car of Dale Jarrett.
Those 6 cars trying to pull away from this group who are running 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And that car up on the outside there, that is Jeff Burton. He has come all the way up now trying to take over the 8th position.
Yeah, he's flying on the high side of the racetrack, and he is catching Jeff Gordon down the back straightaway. Bill Elliott starting to drop back in the 94 there, just in front of that group.
Look at the progression of Jeff Burton from 37th to 9th. As he works up on Ricky Rudd, outside pole sitter. That bright orange number 10 running in 8th place. Jeff Gordon right behind the number 4, Bobby Hamilton. Winner of this race or champion in 95 and 98.
You see that piece of tape on Bill Elder's car? I've noticed it 2 or 3 times when you show the 94 car. Don't worry about that. If that's that 200-mile-an-hour tape become loose there.
Hey, what happened to teammates working together? There are the 2 Childress cars. Earnhardt in the black 3 and Skinner in the 31 side by side.
Earnhardt had gotten by Skinner, and then Skinner got back by Earnhardt. Now Earnhardt trying to take that second position away again. But he's got a hungry Bobby Labonte right on his back bumper. Dale Earnhardt has. That should help him more than it will help Skinner.
Skinner on the bottom. What a beautiful shot, though. That looks up to 31 degrees as they go through the corner there. Earnhardt, as you said, Ned, got a little bit of toe, but the 31 car very strong off the corner, and I think he has a little help now also.
You know, he's going to side. This is Bobby Labonte. He's lined up right behind Earnhardt. There's that green fender of Labonte's car. Skinner did not have a drafting partner. Another car to help work through the air in tandem.
He has a great deal of help if somebody gets down on the bottom side, because the 2 car there, the leader, Rusty Wallace, is running the low line through the corner. So if he could get any help at all, I think Skinner could go right up to the front.
I was pretty impressed with the way he stayed down just by himself without having any of that kind of help we're talking about. But Bobby Labonte now has moved right up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt, and Earnhardt is on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace as they come off turn 4.
And here comes the point leader up the outside, number 88, Dale Jarrett. Let's go on board with Mike Skinner and our wrenchhead.com telemetry.
Okay, about 195 miles. That's right at 200 miles an hour right there. You see the difference in the RPMs. The track is getting a little bit slicker now. You see about 6,800. He's losing about 200 RPMs in the corner. You'll see it come back up as he goes down the back straightaway.
Pulls in behind Chad Little now in the draft. Back down against the white line. Right on the bottom.
Skinner has now dropped back to the 6th position.
They've run 33 laps, Ned. We'll look for pit stops, would you say 54, 55 if it stays green?
Yes, somewhere from between 50 and 55 laps. They'll perhaps come in a little bit earlier on the first time than they would later on after they can really check their fuel mileage out. And, of course, they ran a couple of laps under caution before they got the green flag. Now he's mixing up front once again here.
That green car of Bobby Labonte wants the lead. He's side by side with Earnhardt for second. Now, who will Jarrett follow?
He's going with Bobby Labonte on the low side. You see Earnhardt trying to move down and keep as much draft as he possibly can. But right now, he's in a bad position. The inside line should get by him.
Labonte inches ahead. This is for second place. Earnhardt up on the outside, a man alone in the high groove.
Well, Dale Jarrett had dropped back in the field a little bit, and he saw Bobby Labonte.
Let's go 3 wide.
Put it on the bottom. And he saw Bobby Labonte coming, so he decided to go with Bobby up through there. But right now, it looks like he's going to decide to go with Earnhardt.
And you have no friends out there, do you?
No, you don't. No, sir.
Not for more than a lap. 35 of 160 laps are complete. Rusty Wallace leads. Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, and Chad Little.
At Daytona, they teamed up to pass Rusty Wallace. It's Earnhardt in front, Jarrett in second. Bobby Labonte came along into third place. Earnhardt goes high. Let's see what it's going to do.
Well, I'm watching Bobby Labonte, and he's working with Dale Jarrett on the bottom side of the racetrack.
Earnhardt's car's been running good up on the outside.
43 times Dale Earnhardt started a cup race at Daytona. He's now led 35 of them.
Another car on the move, the 5 car there, Terry Labonte. He's come right to the front of this pack. He started well back in the field.
He has come from way back in the field, Terry Labonte has. Had a poor qualifying effort, had to take a provisional to get in the field.
38 to 8. Wow, that's that number 5, yellow fenders, white hood, Labonte Chevrolet.
That's even better than Jeff Burton. We've been talking about Jeff Burton, and all of a sudden, Terry Labonte sort of snuck up on us here.
Side by side for the lead. Jarrett on the bottom, Earnhardt on the high side. This is only the 3rd race that Earnhardt has led this year. Dick Berggren.
You're talking about Terry Labonte moving up, Mike. They had an incredible crowd of people working on that race car. But the guy who really made the difference was a fellow named Rex Stump. He is from the Hendrick Group, and he is a geometry engineer. They brought him in. He worked on the front-end geometry of that race car. And even though they were just terrible when they came off the truck, here's Terry Labonte moving toward the front. A great team effort.
This is not the car, the number 5, that Labonte wanted to bring here. He had another car he preferred, and when we got here, he says, I should have been a little firmer about that. This car doesn't work. But boy, that's what you say, Dick. They have worked on it and made that car a contender.
That was kind of interesting. His team car there, the 24, Jeff Gordon, didn't do a thing. We have a new leader also, Dale Jarrett in front in the 88 car.
Just dipped down on the inside of Dale Earnhardt coming off of turn 2 and just zipped up off that corner. He wants those 5 bonus points that goes with leading a lap in NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
And he's loving this race for second place right now, side by side. They'll lose about a second to him running side by side because 2 cars make a much bigger hole in the air than one running by itself.
Then you got that second, Bobby Labonte and Mike Skinner running side by side as well.
Jarrett led 3/4 of the Michigan race on CBS. He led the last 3/4. Nobody else led from lap 53 to 200. So Dale Jarrett opens up a lead here at Daytona. Let's go to pit road and Bill Stevens.
Mike, Dale Jarrett having a great run, but according to his crew chief, Todd Parrott, that car is not everything it could be. He says Dale is complaining that it's a little bit tight. I said, are you going to do anything to it? He said, yeah, not right away.
Well, there is a story that goes with that car. It hit a turtle on the back straightaway, and they had to do all kind of work on the front end of it. I don't think I've ever heard of that here at Daytona, but there was a turtle on the racetrack. It hit the front valance and just caved the whole front of the car in.
And they lost about 2/3 of the afternoon practice session yesterday because of that. Now the second and third place car, second, third, and fourth getting hooked up together in single file now. They'll run Jarrett down.
What's happened to our pole sitter, Joe Nemechek? He's dropped back to 23rd position after starting this race from the inside of the front row. Just finished 6th at Richmond. Ralph, what's the matter with Nemechek?
Mike, he's a rocket ship down the straightaways as he catches the cars in front of him. The problem is when he gets to the corners, the car is very loose through the turns here. He's forced to lift off the gas as they get down to the corners. That means everybody's going to get back away from him. Then he'll reel him back in down the straightaways and lift again. Ken Squire?
That number 6, Mark Martin, started dead last. Broken wrist if you're just joining us. Bad knee, painful ribs after a crash in the final moments of practice. Started 43rd, worked his way to 27th, stabilized, stayed there, climbed to 24th momentarily, and right now Mark Martin is still struggling here after taking those first positions. Looks like it's going to be a while before he makes another run towards the front, but we're getting close to that first pit stop. And it looks like it's going to be under green, and we may see him making some more moves as he is right now, coming up through the field from dead last.
Martin sweeps under the 55 of Kenny Wallace to pick up a spot. Dale Jarrett leads Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, and they've caught him here in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona on CBS.
Back under the lights at Daytona International Speedway, 46 laps complete, 5 leaders with 4 lead changes. Our average speed over 186.5 miles an hour. No cautions thus far, and every car that started is still in the race. Mike Joy.
Thanks, Greg. Bill Elliott made a pit stop just as we were coming back, took on 4 tires and fuel, and Ned, 48 laps. Wouldn't that be early?
A little bit earlier than we expected, Mike. We expected them to go past 50 laps. Of course, some will get better fuel mileage than others, some will gamble more than others, but back in the Daytona 500, both Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt went 57 laps. Rusty Wallace went 54 laps before he made a pit stop.
And we've heard some scanner chatter between the crews and the drivers. That's another great thing about NASCAR racing is you can hear the strategy unfold by scanning the teams. Here at the Speedway, some of the teams are saying 55 laps. We can expect them, good many of the leaders in. From Wally Dallenbach, looking back at the Pontiac of Tony Stewart.
And the outside pole there, the Ricky Rudd car, the Ken car.
Keep her up there. Keep her up there.
And from Tony Stewart, looking back. one more position. That's Jeff Burke, or excuse me, that's Ricky Rudd. Hi, Ricky. It's a little different angle we have on Tony Stewart's camera. It's mounted where the right tail light is. Usually we put it right where the rear license plate would be. And it's a little different view. Rick Mast has come on to pit road, and Cale Yarborough's number 98.
Now, but sometimes people have to stop a little bit early. They have a pickup in the tank that's right on the right-hand corner, and a lot of times they don't pick up all the fuel. Maybe they're getting low on fuel, not taking on the full 22 gallons.
So a little bit early stop for Rick Mast, driving for the fellow who has led more laps in this race in his career than anyone, Cale Yarborough. Cale is with Greg Gumbel and Ken Squire.
Mike, Cale Yarborough joins us here, and you know, as we're all marveling at this spectacle under the lights, I find out, Cale, you're marveling as well. This is fun, isn't it?
This is great. You know, racing under the lights is just absolutely fantastic. Thing about it is, Ken, you know, we all started under the lights, so here we are back under the lights again.
Yeah, but that was a quarter mile and a half mile on dirt tracks and all kinds. When it was really in the light, it was in the light, and when it was in the dark, about 30 feet down the track, you couldn't see anything.
Well, that's true, but they certainly have improved on the lights, and this is just fantastic racing.
Cale Yarborough has won this race 4 times. He's won the 500 4 times. What about the future for Winston Cup stock car racing?
Well, I don't see anything but great things, Ken. This board is wide open. The afterburners are wide open. It's going straight up. I don't see any slowing down whatsoever.
Wish you were still driving?
Well, yeah, I still get the itch. Well, I never lost the fire to drive, but we got a good race car driver now. Rick Mast is doing a good job for us, and we got a brand new sponsor, Universal Studios, with Woody Woodpeckers come on with us for the next 3.5 years. So we're struggling a little bit tonight. We came here with a brand new race car, and we just ran out of time. We didn't get any practice, but we're gonna work on it some of them pit stops.
Cale Yarborough, good to see you. Thank you.
Mike
Joy.
1 year here of 160 laps. Cale at 142 of them. The 4-car of Bobby Hamilton, the Morgan McClure Chevrolet, on pit road at lap 52. This would begin the scheduled stops in the pit window that we expected.
Yes, I agree. And most of them will change 4 tires, put in a full tank of fuel. For the race fans might be watching a NASCAR Winston Cup race for the first time. They have 22 gallons of fuel. They can take on 22 gallons of fuel in the tank.
Mark Prater and Zeke Lester on the front tires. Jim Bender and Bobby Lord on the rears. Jackman Robert Larkins drops it down, and away he goes.
20.3 seconds. That's a little longer than the average NASCAR Winston Cup point pit stop. We see other cars coming in. Kenny Irwin's coming in. Ricky Rudd is coming in. A lot of cars now coming in to the pits. These are scheduled pit stops.
Riding with Kenny Irwin as he goes down towards the pits. You'll see his sign right up. He'll come right. You hear him talking to him.
4.
Counting off the pits to where he stops right there. Puts the car in first gear and gets ready to go again when they're done.
You see him with this brush right on the front of the car. They're taking a lot of rubber off. As it wears off the tires, it goes back into the front openings right there, and they have to clean that or the car runs hot.
The leader's about to come in. In fact, most of the leaders are coming in. Dale Earnhardt did not come in.
Kenny Schrader's made a pit stop. Johnny Benson, Jerry Nadeau, and this group going out is Kevin LePage. And in comes Darrell Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, Chad Little, and Wally Dollenbeck. Bill Stevens.
Dale Jarrett is in. The quality care crew already hard at work on that car. They're going to take 1 pound of air out of all 4 tires to try to correct the tight condition. 4/10 of a second to get off each lug nut. Look at this. 5/10 to get them back on again. Ford fuel, first gear out. 17.3 seconds.
Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip making pit stops. Jeff Gordon is in. And Chad Little is in trouble at the, or excuse me, finishing his stop at the end of pit road. As the rest of the field comes out, Little was in his pit. He was not stalled at the end there. He was just pitted in the very last stall.
And Rusty Wallace and Bobby Labonte beat Dale Jarrett out. They had fantastic pit stops. We see others coming in up here. Somebody really burning the brakes coming in. Looked like Kenny Wallace maybe coming in a little bit hot, but he gets it slowed down. 55 miles an hour is the speed limit on pit road.
Jeff Burton, John Andretti, Joe Nemechek, Jimmy Spencer are in. Kenny Wallace, Terry Labonte. Here's Kyle Petty, Dave Marcus, and Buckshot Jones. The 3-car of Dale Earnhardt has stayed out and taken up the lead. His teammate Mike Skinner runs right with him. They should pit the next time by. 55 laps complete. Here's Earnhardt peeling off, and Mike Skinner
coming right with him.
Childress Racing teammate. Both those cars under the same ownership.
And Tony Stewart heads for pit road.
So Earnhardt at 55 miles an hour, which must feel like he's stopped. Coming down to the attention of Kevin Hamlin's crew. Ralph is there.
Mike, they decided to stay out to lap 56 so they could pit with their teammate. The air gun spinning at over 10,000 RPMs as the lug nuts come flying off. Rick Jones and Sam Tubbs changing the tires for Dale Earnhardt. Only going to make a slight air pressure adjustment to this car. They are completed. He is back underway, and Mike Skinner will follow now until he'll have a drafting partner.
56 laps complete, all under green, and now all of the race leaders have made a pit stop.
And you're going to find 3 cars that are going to be out front, I believe, and they're going to be the 2-car of Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, and then Dale Jarrett. Well, let's see, did Earnhardt and Skinner get out in front of them? We'll have to check this out here.
They did, Ned, but it's going to take them a while to get up to speed. So that threesome may overhaul the back straightaway. There they are. They're coming down on Skinner and Earnhardt, who are still trying to come up to speed.
And it takes about 3/4 of a lap to really get your speed back up. You see Earnhardt and them going down in the corner there, and Rusty Wallace and them a full head of steam as they come up on all these cars.
They get past Skinner to the outside and now move up on Darrell Waltrip. But Earnhardt comes to speed, and he's alone on the racetrack. So Dale Earnhardt holds the lead after making a pit stop at lap 56. 7 times a national champion and the '98 winner of the Daytona 500. Earnhardt was 3rd before pit stops and came out first. Looking on the right side of your screen, Bobby Labonte had the fastest total time on pit road, a little over 40 seconds. Further back, Jeff Gordon battling for 15th place after his pit stop, fighting with Chad Little and the number 20 of rookie Tony Stewart.
Yeah, and you can see the 20 there, Tony Stewart. He came in with Earnhardt and them, but he's dropped back quite a bit after his pit stop.
Earnhardt under challenge for the lead. Rusty Wallace in the Ford up the outside.
That's what we talk about. The 3 cars there were drafting each other nose to tail. Earnhardt out there by himself. And the draft on this racetrack is so important for that front car to break the air. The cars behind him to push him forward with that turbulence off the first car.
And see how quickly Dale Earnhardt zipped in behind Dale Jarrett. He wanted to pick up that draft if he possibly could and stay with that lead group. I think he'll be able to because his teammate Mike Skinner is going to be back there behind him, so they should be able to stay with the front 3 there.
Skinner's the 5th place car. Then it's Terry Labonte. Had a good pit stop. He is now in 6th. And Ward Burton, who has been the best single car team in NASCAR this year, Bill Davis Racing, he'll get a teammate, Dave Blaney, next year. Ward Burton is up to 7th, ahead of John Andretti, Jeff Burton, and Kenny Irwin. CBS coverage of the Pepsi 400 continues after this message and a word from your local CBS station. 62 of 160 laps are complete in the Pepsi 400. All run under the green flag. We've been caution-free. Mike Joy with Ned Jarrett and Buddy Baker atop the speedway. Bobby Labonte at 62 laps. Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt have all been up there. Rusty Wallace, Mike Skinner, Ward Burton, the top half dozen after this round of stops. And the field has become somewhat spread out, partly because of who each driver pitted with in sequence and how long that pit stop was. There's Jarrett pulling them around the speedway. Since his crash here in February, Dale Jarrett, in that number 88 on the left side of your screen, has finished no worse than 11. 2 wins, 13 top 5s, and 1 8th place finish. Remarkable performance coming back from being involved in that big crash at Daytona. That's why he's the Winston Cup point leader.
Consistency is what will keep you or get you to the top in the point standings, and it'll keep you there if you can keep that consistency going.
And that guy sitting right there in 4th place, Bobby Labonte, is probably the most consistent guy on this racetrack. He's second twice already at this speedway, and they kind of get around And some people say right now the Pontiac may be balanced just a little bit better than any car out there.
Could well be. Jeff Gordon came into the pits in 15th position, came out of the pits running in 16th. He is currently up to 9th. Ralph Sheen.
Mike, Jeff was awfully tight before the pit stop. They loosened him up some during that last stop, and the times are already showing that he is a lot quicker. I've been watching the board down here. He was running 47.64 last time by 47.37. He's picking up 0.3 a second every lap. Our leader, Dale Jarrett, is running 47.54, so you can see Jeff Gordon's car has been dialed into the way they need it. Now, can it stay there for a full run?
Now, look right behind him at that orange Pontiac. Tony Stewart took a long time on pit road. He pitted in 3rd position. He came out in 15th, but the extra adjustments that they took the time to make have allowed Stewart to climb back up to 10th place.
Yeah, that chemistry between Jeff Gordon and Ray Evernham is so amazing. And you're talking about Tony Stewart. He has a guy that works with him the same way. And you can see right now it's paying off. They're catching Jeff Burton right now in the car that we're looking at right there. You can see the hand signals. They actually put their hand up and tell you, okay, let's get in line. Let's try to catch that front group.
Last time through the corner, right there underneath Jeff Burton's car, we saw it sparks. What is that?
Well, you see it at night. It's actually there in the daytime, but that's the actual part of the car touching the asphalt, and it makes the sparks fly. It's there in the daytime, but at night it's pretty spectacular.
You're riding with Jeff Gordon, chasing Jeff Burton, 8th and 9th. Let's go back another spot. There's Tony Stewart looking ahead at Gordon as they enter turn 1 at over 190 miles an hour. There are those sparks again for Burton's car.
Yeah, and you see Jeff Gordon right on that white line. The car is balanced well right now. It's handling quite well. Looking at the car in the corner, I can't see one thing that's bad about the Gordon car through the center of the corner.
He's running about 5 1/4 seconds behind the leader.
Let's show you how far back he is off the lead. Dale Jarrett is your leader. Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, that is the front 4. There's the front pack.
Catching Ted Musgrave there, about to put him a lap down. Musgrave is running in 38th position.
Also a lap back, David Green, Brent Bodine, Darrell Waltrip, Roy Allen, Ricky Craven. There are your race leaders. That pack of 4.
Mike Skinner was in that pack. He sort of lost the draft and has dropped back. He's still running in the 5th position.
By himself?
Yes, by himself out there. There's a group of cars coming up on him.
Let's check on pit road, Dick Bergeron.
Restrictor plate racing is very much a matter of making deals, and when deals are made, you try to make sure that everything you agree to works out. That didn't happen when Rusty Wallace made a deal with the 18 of Bobby Labonte. The deal was let Bobby Labonte have the lead for just a few feet so he could get 5 bonus points, and then Labonte was supposed to drop back. This all just before those pit stops. Labonte couldn't drop back because the 88 of Dale Jarrett was right behind him, and he took off. Well, Bobby Labonte has radioed back and said he knows he owes Rusty Wallace one. To Ken Squire.
For Daytona race fans, this action right now up in front, 1993 all over again. Remember Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, 1st and 2nd down toward the end of the race. We're not there yet, but it still looks like that at the present time. Earnhardt pressing, moving right up behind. Jarrett was asked after that 93 race about what he was going to do at the end of that race. He said, my thoughts were not to let Earnhardt get to my bumper. I knew he was going to do what it takes, and what it takes might be me. Would Earnhardt have tagged him? Sure, he said, but we're talking about Daytona. I'm going to use whatever I can, too. It could be these two down there at the end of it deciding this 400 tonight under the lights. Ralph?
Ken, Jeff Gordon's car has been dialed in good enough for him to run wide open around the racetrack here tonight at Daytona. The problem he has now is that the cars in front of him are not capable of running wide open all the way around the track. Ray Evernham just radioed into Jeff and said, wait for some of the other cars behind you to catch you. Don't become impatient. Once we get a long enough train, maybe we can get enough cars to go with us. We can get around the slower cars in front of us.
Just ahead of him is John Andretti, who pitted running 15th and is now up to 7th. And how about Ward Burton right there? He came into the pits running 14th. Now he is 6th. Who would have thought that a slow-talking driver from Virginia could team up with a smart aleck kid from Long Island, his crew chief Tommy Baldwin, drive for Bill and Gail Davis, two of the nicest owners in this sport, and be the best single-car team in NASCAR this season.
You got that right. And I'll tell you, he loves the racetrack and loves to run fast, and that's very important here at Daytona.
You know, not only Baldwin, but two other folks, including Todd Holbert, are son of some great racers and work on that car. Ward Burton having a strong night tonight. They're in front of John Andretti in 43 and Jeff Gordon's 24. 70 laps complete at Daytona. Dale Jarrett leads Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, and Mike Skinner in the Pepsi 400. Live coverage of the Pepsi 400 under the lights, and Dale Jarrett has been pulling him around this speedway at over 190 miles an hour. Now Rusty Wallace has gone to the front, taken Dale Earnhardt with him, and they are in some pretty heavy race traffic. That's Kevin LePage, the red and white car just ahead, trying to keep from going a lap down to the new race leader, Rusty Wallace.
Jerry Nadeau, there's Kyle Petty, the front car we see there, car number 44. He's about to go a lap down.
Ned, when you take fast cars and you start getting in lap traffic, the fast cars get much, much faster because of the airflow around the slower cars. They'll pick up some 1.5 to 2 miles an hour per lap as they go by lap traffic.
And one thing that's happening now, as they get in this heavy traffic, Jeff Gordon and the cars back behind him there, Ward Burton, those cars are catching up to them now.
Average speed thus far 9 miles an hour faster than the race record. We've only had one pit stop so far, and we have yet to see the yellow flag.
And not seeing the yellow flag might be one reason that of course, we're seeing bunches of cars here now, Mike. The 4 cars had pulled away from the rest of the field, and the fact that we had not seen a yellow flag might be the reason for that. And pit stops sort of jumbled them up a little bit.
Now, the cars that are being lapped by the leaders may have been running 4 to 5/10 of a second a lap slower than the leaders, or may have had a slightly slower pit stop. On our field summary box up the top left, if you see a driver whose position is in green, that driver has gained at least 1 position in the last lap. It's displayed with a red background. He's lost 1 or more positions. Jerry Nadeau from Danbury, Connecticut, the former road racer, trying to keep from going a lap down. And there is Rusty Wallace moving to the inside. Dale Jarrett following with him as we come past the start-finish line in the low groove, and Dale Earnhardt is right with him. So lapping traffic here coming up 3 laps to halfway.
And a $10,000 bonus for the driver who's leading at halfway. Maybe that's the reason Rusty Wallace stepped it up there. Got to get that $10,000.
Earlier we saw Terry Labonte moving up in the field. There he is, middle of the screen, in that number 5 Chevrolet. But after the pit stop, he's managed to come up to no better than 13th position.
Have you ever heard you're part of what you're around? If you drop back in slower traffic, the draft will pull you back just like it'll help you when you're with fast traffic. So when you lose that lead group, you start running with about the same speed as everybody that's around you.
Ted Musgrave makes an unscheduled pit stop. As Ernie Irvin, blue Pontiac, running right with that pack. Back at the leaders, where Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett lead the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. The air and crashed down hard on his wheels last week in California. Has apparently lost an engine in the Earnhardt Inc. number 1 and goes to the garage area where he'll join Loy Allen.
Mike, we've got a report that there's a light sprinkle somewhere on the racetrack, not enough to slow the cars down right now, but apparently on the backstretch somewhere.
Let's watch Dale Jarrett as he heads down in the corner. You can see a lot of wheel movement. He's really fighting that steering wheel right now. The car's not getting through the corner as smoothly as he'd like for it to, but it's running very, very well. But, man, he's putting a whipping on that wheel.
Yeah, he's pushing up a little bit off the corners. They're particularly
starting to get a little sprinkle up here where I'm at. Nothing to worry about.
That's DJ's spotter. Said it's starting to sprinkle a little bit up here where he is, and he's up above the grandstand. There you
see him following Bobby Labonte, the green car, and the relationship both from up high and from on board Dale Jarrett. You see how he fights that wheel and bounces around there. Not so much here in the tri-oval, but wait till he gets down to turn 1.
As he starts in the turn 1, there's a series of bumps. You'll see him moving real, see him start to get drastic there on the steering wheel and start bouncing straight up and down as he goes through the corner.
Moves around Bobby Labonte.
He's climbing a rope, but he's getting where he wants to go. That's the good part.
Ricky Craven out of the race. Steering problems on the Midwest number 50. Mike Skinner moves underneath Ward Burton. Tony Stewart is right there. That battle's been going on for several laps. Burton has come up as high as 5th place and just lost it to Skinner in the 31, the blue car.
He had passed Skinner Ford about 10 laps or so ago. Now has lost it back again. Apparently when his tires gets heated up, Ward Burton's car goes away a little bit.
Riding with Tony Stewart down into turn 1. Ward Burton there in the 22 on the high side. We have a yellow flag.
Rain is falling around the speedway, and since these cars have slick tires with no tread, they can't race once there's an accumulation of rain on the asphalt. So the first caution flag of the day comes out for rain. Rusty Wallace will lead them around to the yellow. Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, and Mike Skinner, the top 5. Here you see the raindrops. This is no disparaging the weathermen in Florida, but if you said hot, humid, and chance, well, you wouldn't say humid, okay? Humid and chance of showers, you would have the forecast for every summer day in Florida. So a little rain here is not unexpected.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as a little rain if you're running 200 miles an hour going down in the corner with 5,000 pounds of down pressure on that right front tire. You don't want it to slide on anything.
Jerry Nadeau tried his best to get a lap back. Everybody else moved out of his way, but Rusty beat him back to the flag and kept him a lap down. Nadeau running in the 31st position. There are 30 cars on the lead lap.
There's the pace car scooting out in front of Rusty Wallace.
They'll try to stay under on the racetrack and keep heat on the racetrack because it'll drive much quicker as the cars go around.
First caution of the night in the Pepsi 400. 85 laps are complete. We'll continue after this message and a word from your local station. We are under caution for a brief shower here at Daytona. Welcome back, Mike Joy alongside Buddy Baker and Ned Jarrett. Now, Ned, we've not seen a lot of the pack racing that we saw in the first 10 or 15 laps that we really kind of expected in this race.
Yeah, we saw some of it. Some cars began to break away before they made their first green flag pit stop, and then they did sort of get scattered out, and then they got in some traffic, and it began to materialize again. But now that we've had this caution flag, everybody came in, changed tires, and made some adjustments on their cars. I think that we'll see a lot of pack racing from here on.
Pit stops continue, Buddy, but we have seen aggressive racing. That move that Rusty Wallace took on Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt went to the inside in the back straightaway. Rusty just slammed the door on him all the way to the grass.
Exactly, and that's what you have to do. When you run Talladega Daytona, you have to be aggressive. You have to let them know, hey, I'm not going to let you take it. You're going to have to take it.
Well, during commercial, all of the leaders took on pit stops. There's Darrell Waltrip is still in. Let's show you what a pit stop looks like from our animation. You see that the tire changers and jackmen are in position by the time the car comes to a stop. The jackman, you'll see the J on his back, is in position to help either tire changer if need be. The NASCAR official in silver makes sure that they get all the lug nuts on tight, and the gas man gets his second can of fuel while the tire changers and jackmen come around to the left side of the car. Then they keep working on their stop. When fuel is done, the man with the catch can raises his arm, and when the jack comes down, that's the driver's signal to go. It all takes about 16 seconds. Let's watch the 3 leaders stops moments ago. Rusty Wallace on the top left of your screen, Dale Earnhardt in the middle, and Dale Jarrett on the bottom left of your screen. 7 men allowed to service the car over the wall.
A lot of pride in beating these guys on pit road, too.
Jarrett barely away first, Wallace, and then Earnhardt.
But when they got out on the racetrack, it was Rusty Wallace. It was Earnhardt that was out in front of Wallace and then Jerry.
and that had to do with where they were pitted.
Exactly.
As Michael Waltrip has taken his car behind the wall, not to that refreshment stand for a hot dog, but we believe there is some sort of a belt problem, or he may have knocked a hole in the oil tank. A tough break for Waltrip, who was running in 20th.
Now here comes Sadler. He had been the leader coming in and out of pit.
So we are still under caution, but we're getting close to going back under the green flag here on the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. For the restart, cars on the lead lap in the outside lane, lapped cars to the inside of the racetrack. Jerry Nadeau will be unable to get his lap back from Dale Earnhardt, who set sail down in turn 1. Boy, Earnhardt got away. Look at Rusty Wallace, the third car in line, had to get a little draft off Jerry Nadeau to try to make a run.
Now that looks like a great thing to do, is get a big jump like that, but those cars behind him will overhaul him going in the next corner if he's not careful. You can see they've already caught him down the back straightaway and looking to the outside, heading into turn 3.
Rusty Wallace, number 2, going to try it the long way around, and he's got help, Ned.
Yes, he has. Dale Jarrett right on his back bumper. Those two Fords pairing up together.
How about Ward Burton in 3rd place there?
22 car in black and yellow. The Bill Davis Pontiac. Ford's best finishes at Daytona 7th in the 500 this year.
Yeah, that was a good restart by Dale Earnhardt, but it was not good for him. He jumped out there, and the others built up the momentum and just drove right by him, and there he is now back there fighting for 6th place.
The reason I knew that was going to happen, I used to get those jackrabbit starts like that, and I'd go about halfway down the back stretch, and I'd go, uh-oh, tilt.
How close can you get? Bobby Labonte comes up to Dale Earnhardt and says hiya.
Yeah, and that's got a word for it. It's called bump drafting. You go down through there, you actually touch bumpers, and it picks up the cars in front of you about 100 RPM.
Does it pick the back end up off the ground?
It don't matter. If it picks me up a mile an hour, I'll ride it.
Okay. Wallace, Jarrett, Burton, Skinner, Gordon, and Earnhardt. Dick Berggren is with Michael Waltrip behind the pit wall.
He's by the refreshment stand, Mike, but he didn't stop here for a hot dog. The whole crew is underneath the race car. They're changing the drive shaft. Oil all over the place. What's happened to you, Michael?
Well, I broke a gear leaving the pit, Dick. It's unbelievable. I left like my granny. I mean, I just rolled off, and it broke. Welcome, CBS, to prime time here at Daytona. Man, when those cars went by just then, it gave me cold chills. So I know the 140,000 here are having a good time, but me, for one, the Phillips Electronics Klausner Furniture Chevy, it's kind of sucks right now.
Yeah, he was 5th here in Daytona in February, but obviously not having any fun tonight, Mike.
No, he's not. He finished 5th here in February.
Man, a few words, but it makes sense.
Now Earnhardt runs Ward Burton a little ways up the racetrack as they battle side by side for 4th. Middle of your screen. Burton's going to get some help from Pontiac driver John Andretti.
And Earnhardt has help from the Pontiac of Bobby Labonte.
Little miscue on a pit stop. Kevin LePage came in for tires and fuel.
That's the catch can there, hanging off the back, but it did its job. You see, you have to pull it off there. It actually connects there to keep fuel from pouring out of the back of the race car when you fill it up.
The reason they have that catch can is with the quick... Oh, Ward Burton, did you see him get loose coming through the tri-oval, that black and yellow car? Did Earnhardt get into him and maybe loosen him up?
I thought he did. I thought they touched just a little bit. Earnhardt's backed off there now because he thought there was going to be a wreck, and there was just about to be one. Burton did a great job of keeping it straight.
One thing Jeff Burton didn't do, though, he did not check up. He stayed wide open in the accelerator, and it pulled him back straight. Jeff Gordon going by on the outside there. Earnhardt is slowing up just a little bit right now.
You see there how that Kenny Irwin has moved up a spot in the last lap, and Tony Stewart has lost a spot. That's why his position displayed in red. Now here's Bobby Labonte underneath Jeff Gordon.
Now, what happened to Earnhardt? He backed out of the throttle, and with the restrictor plate motor, you lose all your momentum when you back out of the throttle. You don't get much fuel in there in the carburetor as it is. When you back off, it takes almost a half a lap to get back up to speed.
That's why that T-shirt says lifters or losers?
You got it.
Now Warren Burton, sparks flying from under his car. You see, he was managed to keep his foot in it and keep pedaling. He's out in front of that pack in 4th place.
As Buddy said, he never lifted from the floorboard, just kept the foot down and jumped up there in fourth place.
But this pack is running the front four down. Wallace, Jarrett, Skinner, and Burton are about to have company. Andretti's blue Pontiac a little high up the racetrack. And then 18 Bobby Labonte, the green car, on the low side of the racetrack. And look at the whole pack has come back together again.
Yeah, we figured there'd be pack racing after those pit stops.
Check our wrenchhead.com telemetry with Dale Earnhardt.
He's dropping back just a little bit. As you look forward there, about 6,800 right there, about 185, 90 miles an hour through the corner. Now let's see what he does down the back straightaway in tow as he goes down through there, drafting down the back straightaway. About 6,900 and 200 miles an hour as he heads into turn 3.
Up high, 99 is Jeff Burton. He is tracking Bobby Labonte. Look, did the rear end come off the ground when that tachometer jumped in?
Evidently, that's what happened.
And he also backed off the minute it did that. You could see it drop back to about 6,600. That means it was off the ground momentarily. He backed out of it. Now he's back with a full song.
Well, they don't need a pilot's license as long as they've got wheels on the ground, but Earnhardt was filling out the application there. Now Andretti's way up high in that second pack, and underneath him comes Bobby Labonte, the green car right here, down to the inside as Andretti slipped up high. Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, on the last pit stop, they made another air pressure adjustment on Dale Earnhardt's black number 3. All they wanted to do was loosen the car up a little bit more. They're very happy. No major adjustments being made to the number 3 car.
Dick Berggren.
Let's get a call to the guys with the Ward Burton team because they deserve the hard work award here at Daytona, Mike. When they brought that automobile here for this race, it just would not run worth a lick. And they didn't know what was wrong with it. They didn't know if it was aero. They didn't know if it was the engine or what it was. And they started changing things. They changed the cowl, the exhaust, the fairings around the exhaust, the chassis. They worked on the motor. And piece by piece, it got better and better. They were one of the last cars to leave the garage. They were welding new shock absorber brackets underneath the rear end of that thing just moments before the race. To Bill Shaheen. Up to Bill
Stevens.
Bill Stevens. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. I have to start wearing a number here. Anyway, Rusty Wallace's crew very happy with their pit stop under yellow with 16.7 seconds. And more importantly, they were going to make a chassis adjustment on that pit stop. But crew chief Robin Pemberton and Rusty Wallace decided they would make adjustments with air pressure only. And so far, looks like they made the right choice.
Now, when they do that and put on a set of tires with a different air pressure, how much of a difference does it make if you take out a pound of air in the new tires?
They tell me it's 50 pounds of spring difference to every pound in that tire that you take out.
So lowering the air pressure would give you the equivalence of a softer spring. It takes too long to change springs, so they make those adjustments with air pressure. For the lead, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, 3 wide. Mike Skinner is going to pop out of there with the lead and take Ward Burton with him.
Wow,
what a move.
And on the top side, John Andretti's up there also.
We're speechless. I'm stunned. Now they're 3 wide coming to the line. Back there in 5th place, and it is Dale Jarrett, the man in the middle, as a freight train around him on either side.
That's a place he doesn't want to be, and I don't want him to be in that position either.
Earnhardt and John Andretti there, the 43 of John Andretti. You can see Rusty Wallace on the bottom with Bobby Labonte helping him. This is a real difficult time in the race when you're running side by side and you see the guys up front running nose to tail trying to break away from you.
Wow, we're back to only double wide. There's Andretti with Rusty Wallace underneath him. Look at Earnhardt give Andretti just a little shove, a little bump going into that corner to speed him in there.
Shot him right on out there in clear ground.
Buddy, when you're racing in a tight pack like this at these speeds, is this fun or is this frustrating with all this nose-to-tail bumping going on?
Let me tell you, if it's not fun to you, you better find something else to do because that's what you have to do to run well here at Daytona.
7th race that Mike Skinner has led this year. He has led all 3 of these restrictor plate high-speed races. Let's ride with him to the front.
Jerry was trying to pass Rusty Wallace on the outside, and Skinner just came up there and drove by both of them.
And took that 22, the yellow and black Pontiac, and Ward Burton with him. I don't believe he had enough room to squeeze through there.
That's a great race car that Ward Burton has. He's looking to the outside. Skinner moved up on him, or Ward Burton would have freight trained right on by him because John Andretti's closed in now.
Got 3 Pontiacs right. No, you got it.
Oh, Earnhardt almost lost it right there.
Did.
I can't believe it. Talk about a save.
Well, that's the second time. Just a second ago, he had the rear wheels off the ground, so he's just driving wide open right now and hoping for the best.
If there's a driver here that can carry an ill-handling car, it is Earnhardt. He's shown it time and time again.
We got a Chevrolet and 2 Pontiacs, then another Chevrolet, and then the Ford of Jeff Burton up there in 5th place.
Earnhardt looking at the back of John Andretti, heading down towards turn 3. John Andretti looks to the inside. You see the front butt. They do a lot of mirror driving here. They could see him coming on the inside. They moved right over in front.
Yeah, but when they did that, Dale Earnhardt moved right up to the outside, and he's trying to make a pass up there on the high side.
Well, you see him move back in front of Dale Earnhardt, so that's the preferred line right now. If you can stay up there and run fast, the cars will drift back out to the outside line coming off the corner.
Watch this replay of Dale Earnhardt, the black number 3 car. See how out of shape he gets right there. When Bobby Labonte gets close to him, how did he hang on to that car?
Now that's how you win 7 national championships, by having that much car control. Earnhardt, for a long time, as everybody says, he's got more car control than anyone out there.
So Mike Skinner, Earnhardt's teammate, leads at Daytona, but look at them get 3 wide, trying to take that lead away. 102 of 160 laps are complete.
Back under the lights at Daytona. After 103 laps, we have had 8 leaders, 13 changes up front. The average speed now at about 173.5 miles per hour. We have had 1 caution, which lasted 4 laps. There are 2 cars which are off the track and officially out of the race. Ricky Craven out on lap 34 and Steve Park on lap 78. Let's go back up to Mike.
Dale Earnhardt continues to lead, Greg, but Ernie Irvan is now the man on his bumper, driving that Pontiac number 36.
He has just shot up through there from about the 10th position in the last 3 laps.
And dragged Rusty Wallace right along with him. Rusty was back to 9th place, and we were sitting up here wondering what happened.
Tony Stewart, Terry Labonte, John Andretti, 3 wide down in the corner there.
Terry Labonte said, I better back out just a little bit here, which was a smart thing to do.
Andretti in that blue and red car may have brushed the wall 3 laps ago on the outside.
Mike, I think you're right, because he's falling back through the crowd right now.
Well, let's see if he did. As Andretti, 43, outside of Labonte. Watch this. Watch way up by the wall.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Indeed. He really hit it pretty hard there.
Stays on the racetrack. You saw everybody dive to the low side because they knew Andretti would lose some momentum when they saw the paint flying from the concrete.
That was about 3 or 4 laps ago.
Yeah, and it's pretty hard to keep your foot in it. When you hit the wall like that, you're afraid the fenders are rubbing the outside tires here, and you don't want to pop a tire here running 200 miles an hour.
And the first of those cars to break out of that pack was Ernie Irvan. Now you see Russell Irvan drifting back a little bit on the high side. Those cars with their positions displayed in green have gained a spot in the last lap. Ricky Rudd, you see, lost a spot or more last lap. Earnhardt, Wallace, Skinner, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton. 2 Pontiacs, 2 Chevys, and the Ford in the front 5.
Boy, that car of Rusty Wallace goes anywhere he wants to. He's now currently second, right on the bottom of the racetrack. He made a look on Earnhardt going down into turn 1, thought better of it, fell back in line.
Dick Berggren has more on Mark Martin, the driver who started this race with a broken wrist sustained in last night's practice session, Dick.
And he's gone from 43rd spot to 21st. Jimmy Fennig is his crew chief. Jimmy, how is your driver doing?
His left hand's or wrist is bothering pretty bad, but he's awful tough, I'll tell you. We gave him a scissors to start cutting the cast, but he just couldn't.
In the car, he's going to cut the cast?
Well, that's what we had planned, but he just couldn't get to it yet, so he's hanging in there. He's tough.
Can he finish the race, Jimmy?
Yeah, I believe he's going to finish it.
I bet he will too, Mike Joy.
Mark Martin is made out of shoe leather. There is no tougher driver on this circuit. He's a gritty little guy, and he gives it his all, hurt or not.
Dale Jarrett hadn't quit whipping that steering wheel either. That right arm of his has to be getting a little tired, because when he goes in the corner, he's right on top of that steering. But I tell you what, when you run up front at 200 miles an hour, you have to keep control all the time of that car. You can't let it watch you ride.
Well, he dropped back to 12th position, now trying to take over the 5th position.
29 cars still on the lead lap. From first to 20th spot is just 1.8 seconds. Bill Stevens.
Dale Jarrett has dropped back, but it's because of something that he did himself. He lost the draft, and that cost him some position on the track. I just saw Todd Parris motion to Tommy Baldwin, the crew chief for Ward Burton. They're pitted side by side. He made the sign of a steering wheel, like he's driving a car. They're going to try to hook up and get some position back for Dale Jarrett. Terrell.
Bill, racing is definitely a family affair. Rusty Wallace's son, Steven, has started racing bandoleros, which are basically go-karts with bodies on them. Steven has been bitten by the bug, just like Papa Rusty, to the point that he spends all of his time focusing on that race car. Anything he can think of to make it go quicker, he does. Like going down to the local speed shops in Charlotte and putting everything that he wants on Daddy's account and making them sign Rusty's name to the bill. Rusty came home just the other day, found a brand new set of $1,200 scales with a bandolero sitting on top. Called Steven into the garage and said, "Where'd you get these?" Steven said, "I got them from the local speed shop." And he said, "Well, who told you could do that?" Steven, quick on his feet, said, "Grandpa."
Grandpa is Russ Wallace, who was quite a racer himself. Boy, Wally Dallenbach almost got together again with, I think that was Ward Burton. They were side by side and very, very close. Here's the butt cam on board. Wally Dallenbach, this time looking ahead at Ward Burton's 22. So Burton and Dale Jarrett didn't quite have a chance to hook up.
No, and Wally Dallenbach is in this fight right now. You see Ward Burton just in front of him. There's the head for the tri-oval on the front straightaway. He's running quite well.
Dallenbach up to 7th. Jarrett has climbed to 4th. He's gone past this group. Earnhardt the leader on Chevrolet, Wallace for Ford, Skinner for Chevy, and Jarrett for Ford. Bobby Labonte's Pontiac fills the top 5 here at Daytona. .400, you're watching Rusty Wallace take the lead from Dale Earnhardt from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. One of 6 Goodyear blimps, 3 domestic, and a 3-blimp international fleet that go to sporting events around the world to give you these views. 115 laps complete. Monday on CBS, think you've seen it all. Get ready for the most outrageous outtakes ever. Join King of Queens Kevin James and your favorite stars for funny flubs and screw-ups. That's Monday night on CBS. No flubs and screw-ups among this front pack. Tony Stewart down to the bottom, slips past Ward Burton, that orange Pontiac, and the yellow one side by side. There for 5th place.
Mike, he's still working on that pass.
Ned, what are Larry McReynolds in yellow and Kevin Hamlin in gray discussing?
Okay, they both work for Richard Childress. Larry McReynolds is the crew chief, the one with the yellow shirt on. He's the crew chief for Mike Skinner. Hamlin is the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. So they're discussing what's going on out on the racetrack, and hey, let's work together here. Let's don't work against each other.
Well, they are together on the racetrack now. They were split by Rusty Wallace's Ford, but Wallace went to the lead. Now, Ralph Shaheen was our eavesdropper on the scene. Ralph, what's going on?
Well, that I was, Mike, and I talked to Larry McReynolds right after the conversation. I said, "What are you guys going to do together?" He said, "We're talking about when we're going to pit. We're going to try to stay out till between laps 140 and 145, and then come in together at that time, so we have a drafting partner when we go back out onto the racetrack."
These cars carry 22 gallons of 76 racing gasoline, and so will require one more pit stop. This race stays under green.
There's these 4 cars that you see on the screen right there. Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Mike Skinner, and Dale Jarrett beginning to pull away a little bit from the 5th place car of Tony Stewart.
Yeah, but Tony Stewart is handling quite well, and I think he's got enough car that he's going to run this front group down.
Well, the cars behind him, those 2 right there, Bobby Labonte and Ward Burton, are running side by side, so that'll allow him to pull away a little bit from them.
Now they've dropped single file. Burton has pulled in behind the green car of Labonte.
I guess they heard me say that, Mike.
There's a possibility that 10 car of Ricky Rudd right there, the orange Ford may be dropping some fluid on the racetrack. NASCAR keeping an eye on Rudd, who started this race from the outside pole, looking for his first top 10 finish of the season and to continue that string of consecutive victories in a decade and a half of seasons.
He's still running pretty fast. Moves on the outside of the 12 car of Jeremy Mayfield. And just as a point, Joe Nemechek is now running in 23rd position. He's the guy who started on the pole.
The battle we're watching is for 12th place. Let's go back up front where Rusty Wallace leads Earnhardt, Skinner, and Jarrett. A Ford, 2 Chevys and a Ford, then 3 Pontiacs teamed up nose to tail. A little intramural work going on. Riding with the same make of car, trying to work together here at Daytona. Daytona, 122 of 160 laps, 400 miles, have been completed. 8 different drivers have traded the lead 15 times. Average speed right on record pace at 175.5 miles per hour. Only 1 caution for a brief sprinkle, and only 2 cars off the track. Buckshot Jones and Steve Park are the cars in the garage area. Michael Waltrip, Loy Allen, and Ricky Craven made extensive repairs and returned to the race.
And that car, the green car right in front of Rusty Wallace, he's made a green flag pit stop, Mike, and just came out of the pits. They've run him down. He's about to go a lap down now. He should be able to go the rest of the way as far as fuel is concerned, but it looks like he's going to lap down.
That's Chad Little in that green car who started this race in the top 10. Here's Ken Squire.
Rusty Wallace up in front in that number 2. This restrictor plate racing, which has reduced the horsepower on the entire field, keeping them running in a bundle. He has said about it that it's changed everything in the way you run on a track like Daytona. He said everyone used to be calmer out there, but now they're all over the track, and now you can't be buddy-buddy with anyone anymore. Everyone plays it cutthroat. It's no fun. But when you're leading, it's got to be a little bit of fun out there, huh, guys?
Got to be. 3 wide for a moment there, Ken, up in the middle of turn number 2. How about Tony Stewart, the rookie driver, driving for Joe Gibbs in the Pontiac? He is currently up in the 4th position, right there, trail of that lead draft. They said he'd have trouble on the super speedways, the former IRL champion in NASCAR. They said he'd have trouble on the high bank short tracks like Bristol at night. They said he couldn't drive the road course. He qualified in the front row. This kid can do it all.
He can do it anywhere at any time. And also yesterday in the happy hour last practice session, he brushed the wall. Had to do a lot of work on the body of that car on the right side. And here he is running right up front.
Stewart is looking for his first career win in only his 17th career start. You know who won his first race in his 17th career start? Ned Jarrett, Myrtle Beach, 1959.
Really? Go Ned.
That's a little different than the 400-miler here at Daytona, but
let's ride with the Visa onboard camera of Jeremy Mayfield and our wrenchhead.com telemetry.
6,800 down the back straightaway, about 190 miles an hour as he approaches turn 3. Now you have to remember the tires are getting worn right now, and the car's slipping a little. You notice this line right up against the top part of the racetrack. That means he's not staying on the bottom of the racetrack. He's giving up some grip in the corner.
Buddy, they call that the Richard Petty line. Up high.
Or anymore, they call it not handling good.
It's a little different than it was when Richard won his races here at Daytona.
And Chad Little coming back down pit road. Had such a great run going in the first half of this race. He's up there in the top 5 for a long, long time, but now making a second green flag pit stop.
Ricky Rudd's pit says they're not leaking anything and they're not overheating. Denying that earlier report. Now here is Kenny Irwin's telemetry on our Texaco Haviland onboard camera in this Robert Yates Ford.
All clear. Stay lined up.
Running just a little over 190 miles an hour. Gets down almost to 7,000 RPMs, then loses a little bit in the corner.
Yeah, he backed down a little bit getting in the corner there. You eased out the throttle just a touch getting in the corner there. You can see the RPMs drop back a little bit.
It's back up over 190, just barely over 190 miles an hour. And as Buddy said, the tires are getting worn. Speeds have dropped off a little bit. They're running about a half a second a lap slower than they did after they came out with new tires on.
3 drivers in the top 10 looking for their first Winston Cup win. They include Mike Skinner, Tony Stewart, and and Wally Dallenbach. All three have been champions of other racing series. Skinner, the NASCAR Truck Series, Stewart, the Indy Racing League, and Dallenbach, the SCCA Trans Am. And anyone could win tonight. Rusty Wallace leads. Mike Skinner and Dale Jarrett. CBS coverage continues after this message and a word from your local station. Has 29 laps left to run. Dave Marcus has just made the first of this round of scheduled green flag pit stops, which would give the teams enough fuel and tires to take them to the finish. But the question will be, since they don't need a full tank of fuel, do they need to take the time to take on 4 fresh tires, or will 2 be enough?
That's going to be interesting when they make that pit stop, and every one of them out there is hoping somebody else will stop first and see what they do.
We expect pit stops in about 9 laps. Rusty Wallace is your race leader in a Ford. Then it's Mike Skinner's Chevy and Dale Jarrett's Ford, the front 3. Tony Stewart up there, Dale Earnhardt, Ward Burton. Well, let's go to pit road and find out what the pit strategy will be. First to Dick Berggren.
And I'm with Robin Pemberton. You've been a very popular guy. I've seen people from just about every one of the top teams down here. What kind of deals have you cut? What you going to do now?
There's no deals to be cut. We're going over when we're going to pit. Everybody wants to pit together, at least to keep 5, 6 cars in line. So it's somewhere between 142 and 148. So how's that?
Okay, that'll do it. By the way, he said that he could probably cut a deal with Larry McReynolds, but he didn't know about the crew chief or the driver. Terrell.
Okay, we're down here where Kevin Hamlin in the black and gray, along with car owner Richard Childress, and the crew chief for Mike Skinner, Larry McReynolds, are all talking things over. And we'll see if we can sneak in here and decide if these guys have figured out exactly what they're going to do. Well, there's too much conversation going on just yet for us to get anything out of them. Let's go to Bill Stevens. We'll get to these guys in just a second.
Well, another summit meeting going on down here. Here's Todd Parrott, the crew chief for Dale Jarrett, talking to Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief for Tony Stewart. 5 minutes ago, well, it was Tommy Baldwin over here chit-chatting with this man. Can I ask you an honest question? Have you made a deal yet?
We're working on a deal right now. I don't know. You can't never trust anybody. We all have to hopefully come down pit road at the same time and race this thing out at the end.
4 tires, 2 tires?
4 tires, 2 tires, gas only. I'm not sure yet.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you?
No, but I won't tell you the truth either.
Greg Zipadelli from Kensington, Connecticut. He just got engaged. His driver, Tony Stewart, just got engaged. They think a lot alike and spend a lot of time together. They are really in sync. Quite an accomplishment for a rookie team. Let's go back to Ralph.
Well, we got Richard Childress pulled out of the conversation. You got your 2 crew chiefs talking over here. Did they work a deal out together?
Well, we're just trying. We're going to pit together. You know, Dale's wanting right sides, but we just ain't going to be able to do it. You know, his car's pushing real bad, and, you know, if you do, you're going to end up 20th. If you don't, you know, we still got a chance of being right in there with them.
So you're going to be forced to take 4 tires, huh?
No, we're not going to take any tires. We're going to put on gas, just gas and go.
Gas and go. Okay, and Larry McReynolds blasted right past this. He's already headed back to his pit box.
Wow, Childress sounded like an honest man, but not a happy one. Gas only for Earnhardt. We'll be back for those pit stops. Stay with us. .138 laps complete. Pit stops are imminent. But Sunday on 60 Minutes, why do politicians say the things they do? Because you told them to. Sunday, 60 Minutes. Rusty Wallace's Ford leads. Mike Skinner's Chevy is second. Dale Jarrett's Ford is third. Tony Stewart's Pontiac, Dale Earnhardt's Chevrolet making a move here. 5th place against Bobby Labonte. Ned, they'll have to make that 1 pit stop. 2 tires, 4 tires, 1 can of gas, 11 gallons, 2 cans of gas. What do we do?
Well, I think they can definitely make it on 1 can of gas from here on. And I think that with that in mind, that they will not change tires, like Richard Childress said, because they can't change even the right side tires in the time they can put in 1 tank with 1 can of fuel.
Now, Fed.com telemetry, buddy.
Earnhardt was 200 miles an hour down the straightaway. He's dropping down to 190 as he starts down the back straightaway. You see the miles an hour creeping up there. Still on 195 down the back straightaway. Right there, he's touching almost 200 and 6,900 as he heads off in the corner.
When they come by this time, 20 laps, 50 miles to go to decide the 41st annual Pepsi 400.
And their lap speeds right now, Rusty Wallace has pulled them around there the last time around. He ran under 48 seconds, and I'll tell you, that's pretty good as long as he's been out there in those tires. So that's another reason they wouldn't change tires.
Last lap speed 187.3 miles per hour to Kent Squire.
Tony Stewart trying to win that first Winston Cup race. The consummate professional, a winner in 3 other categories of racing out there in Indiana. He has rebuilt his entire home. The walls have been moved, the ceilings raised, new fireplace, trophy wall. But stay, he's still a kid. The one room that he would not change, the bedroom. He said, back when I was a kid, that's where I dreamed of being a big-time racer, and that's going to stay just the way it was. His dream may be coming true here tonight.
He runs in the top 5. Average speed 177. The record for 400 miles you saw on CBS from Michigan in June, 173.997 in jeopardy tonight. Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, one of the keys we just heard Larry McReynolds saying over the radio to his driver, Mike Skinner, is, Mike, when you come in, don't slide the tires and make sure you don't stall the car when you hit the pit box. If he slides the tires, he could flat spot the tire, and he is in big trouble. If he stalls the engine, he'll lose precious seconds. His race will be over.
Green flag pit stop, Ernie Irvin and Johnny Benson. Dale Jarrett has radioed his crew. The 88 will stop in 3 laps. Irvin away. Final stop of the day.
Boy, how fast you get off turn 4 and how well you can come down to the speed limit on pit road may be the difference in this race tonight.
Getting in and off pit road is going to be a key, no question about that. 55 miles an hour is the speed limit on pit road. It will seem like they're just barely creeping along.
Pit stops will come in the next 2 to 5 laps as Rusty Wallace gains a little ground. That green car is Chad Little. He is 2 laps behind the race leader. Earnhardt will pit in 2 laps. That's what we pick up off the scanner listening to the driver crew communication. Skinner to the inside on lap car Chad Little. Jarrett following him. And Tony Stewart and that orange Pontiac right side of your screen.
And some other cars, you see the green cars starting to come in there. Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte's worked his way back into a good position now also. He's running in 8th place.
Front 4 cars free of traffic. Now Bobby Labonte clears that lapped car of Chad Little. 17 laps to go.
Alpha Walker takes his car behind the pit wall into the garage area. Here comes Ricky Rudd down pit road for pit stop. Wally Dallenbach coming in for his final pit stop.
Kyle Petty, Kenny Schrader, and Kenny Wallace, Schrader's teammate, all making their stops as we ride down the pit road with Wally Dallenbach. Race leaders could be in next time.
Now Ken Schrader's taking on right side tires. Ricky Rudd only took gas.
Schrader, or rather Dallenbach, will get right side tires as well as Rudd goes by.
Here are the leaders.
And they're all coming. Every one of that lead pack is in. First Wallace, then Skinner, Jarrett, Stewart, Bobby Labonte, Earnhardt, Ward Burton, and Terry Labonte are all in. Dick Berggren.
Well, the first clue that Rusty Wallace is going to take gas only is that Earl Fireman has got his hand on the gas can. Fireman is the jack man. He would be out there with the jack if they're going to change tires. It's not even a full can of gas to Ralph.
Brian Engelhardt puts the gas in for Mike Skinner. He is away already. They do take tires on Dale Earnhardt on the right side to Bill Stevens.
I did not see a tire go over the wall for the 88 or the 20. It was splash and go for both cars, and they were out almost side by side.
It's a drag race to turn 1.
And Dale Jarrett gets out in front of him, and I wonder if they got enough gas in those cars. Man, that was a splashing.
You're exactly right, and that is the question right now. You can see cars at full speed going by the guys as they start to build up their speed down the back straightaway. But Dale Jarrett really got a great run off turn 2. Now Rusty Wallace, if he gets up there, they have enough. They have broke away from the back crowd there.
It will take them more than a lap to get up to full speed at 190 miles an hour here.
But did they get enough fuel in those cars?
That's the question. The rest of the lead lap cars now coming in as green flag pit stops continue at Daytona. We'll be right back.
Back to Daytona, everyone. 146 of 160 laps complete. 9 different leaders have changed the lead 17 times. Our average speed up over 176.5 miles an hour. We have just taken our second caution of the evening. There are 3 cars off the track. Craven, Park, Buckshot Jones, all out of the race. But just a short while ago, the second yellow flag of the night came out because of debris on the track, and that'll bring them all back together again. Mike Joy.
Well, it's kind of ironic, Greg. Dale Jarrett beat everyone out of the pits. He's leading the race. That piece of debris was the catch can from Kenny Irwin's car, Jarrett's Robert Yates racing teammate.
And Jarrett was pulling away from Rusty Wallace, and could have cost him the race. Who knows? We'll see how it comes out.
I'll put a cap on it. It's all new race right now. We have people that did take on tires during that pit stop, so there's strategy, there's racing to be had now that it's a whole new ball game.
28 cars are on the lead lap. Now, during green flag pit stops, Ralph reminded us, Dale Earnhardt got right side tires. He, I believe, was the only one of the leaders who did take on tires. Here's Ward Burton. He's giving up his position, 6th place, to get right side tires. That will put him back to around 28th spot.
Yeah, there are 28 cars on the lead lap, and boy, it'd be hard to make that, but a lot of other cars are stopping too.
So from 6th on back, everyone is stopping. Only the front 5 stayed on the racetrack. CBS Sports coverage of the Pepsi 400 continues after this message and a word from your local station. Thanks to the pilots and crew of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes for these aerial views. Next year, the newest Goodyear Blimp in the fleet will be based in Sydney, Australia. 11 laps to go. They'll take the green flag next time by. Some of them have tires, some of them don't, for this run to the checker.
Apparently they all feel they got enough gas, because those that we wondered about, they stayed out there, so they feel they have plenty of fuel.
Now, Rusty Wallace was leading the Daytona 500, had led the most laps. To the inside goes Gordon. Ricky Rudd down on the apron, and Gordon squeezes by in the move that would eventually win him the race. So can Wallace come from 2nd to 1st. Dale Jarrett has radioed his crew twice. Do I have enough gas? They told him, just keep digging.
Keep digging. That's all he can do now. Too late to even think about it.
I have to think Todd Parrott knows they have enough, because they are the points leader right now, and they don't want to gamble that.
And this caution flag will help. You don't burn nearly as much gas under caution than under green.
But they're going to burn a lot on this takeoff here.
Yes.
You guys just keep your eye on 4th and 5th right now, because I really believe that Labonte and Stewart, the teammates together, they're going to work together and try to go to the front.
Rusty Wallace called his crew. What do I do? Should I pit when that caution came out? They told him. Robin Pemberton told him, whatever the 88 does, you do. So they stayed out. We're about to go green for a 10-lap shootout to settle the Pepsi 400 green flag.
Now, DJ got a pretty good start there, but does he want to be careful here, not get too good of a start like Dale Earnhardt did before and let him blow by in the draft.
Chad Little in the green car there, laps down right now, but he's fighting, and it's really a part of this race right at the moment.
He can definitely play a big part.
Boy, back behind him, they are 3 wide. Look at this knot of cars coming on turn 2. 10 laps to go, and everybody smells the money.
Labonte and Stewart right there, going down the back straightaway towards 3rd. They're trying to higher line. As you can see, I'm getting right there, trying to get a run on the first 3 cars.
Mike Skinner is very loose going into the corners, Mike, and he's tight coming off. Remember, these are the same tires that have stayed on that car, and Mike Skinner has never won a Winston Cup points race. Told his crew chief, Larry McReynolds, I can make it. Larry said, you're the man.
He's the 3rd place car behind the Fords of Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace. Jarrett, the point leader. In the last 10 years, if you weren't 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in the points after this halfway in the season race, you didn't win the Winston Cup championship unless you were Alan Kulwicki in 1992.
And far back, 278 points with just 6 laps, 6 races to go. And we're getting down to 6 laps to go here pretty shortly.
Bobby Labonte looking on the inside of Skinner as they come off turn 4 there.
Now, the best thing that could happen to DJ and Rusty Wallace is those drivers start fighting for position back there.
From Tony Stewart, looking ahead at his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, Bobby Labonte.
Here they
Home
go.
Depot cam.
Trying the outside. You can see them pulling even with the 2-car Wallace as they go down into turn 1.
Boy, Bobby Labonte has a run up on that outside. Look at him come.
Yeah, but now he needs some drafting help. He needs somebody to get close up to him.
He's got it. We're riding with him. Tony Stewart, as they head down the back straightaway, you can see him going right by the 2-car, Rusty Wallace.
No, Rusty! They touch! Whoa, that's too close.
Now they're 3 wide back there for about 5th place.
Well, when Stewart and Wallace got together, everybody else jumped for a spot. Here goes Earnhardt.
Tony Stewart checked up. It cost him about 4 or 5 spots there. You can see him dropping back just a little bit now.
But he looked like he had to check up or crash.
That was it. That was a wreck that didn't happen.
7 laps to go. 28 cars on the lead lap from Mike Skinner looking across at Tony Stewart. Jarrett's Ford now has Bobby Labonte, Pontiac in tow. And now they go single file. 6 laps to go when they come around. Dick Bergman.
I'm with Todd Parrott. Can your driver, Dale Jarrett, hang on to this lead?
I sure hope so. You know, he hadn't said a whole lot all day. The car hadn't been real good, but seems to be okay. Just praying to God right now that everything just keeps going like it is.
And he's punching his calculator too, Mike Troy.
Well, they weigh that fuel can. Does he have enough?
Rusty Wallace drops back. No help at all on the bottom. He's running second. You can see Bobby Labonte on the outside, and Rusty Wallace, he's just riding along right now, losing spots.
And that let Dale Jarrett pull out in front, and that might have not been good because it let Bobby Labonte get a good run on him. He's right there to him. Now he's going to move to the outside. Here's Earnhardt coming up in there. Remember, he got 2 fresh tires on the outside when he made his pit stop.
And give a call to Jeff Burton in 4th place there. He's really flying up through here. He and Earnhardt nose to tail going down the front straightaway.
Not bad for a car that started 38th at 99 of Jeff Burton. 5 laps to go. 12.5 miles.
Riding with Dale Earnhardt down into turn 1. Will he stay on the bottom of the racetrack or follow Bobby Labonte on the high side? He's staying down low with Dale Jarrett as they head off.
Whoa! Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. Past Mark Martin. Takes Wally Dolan back with him. They are 4 wide in the middle of the back straightaway.
Boy, you talked about a shootout, Mike. It is that. Not only for the front, here's Earnhardt coming up to try to take over 2nd place, and he's got it.
Dale Earnhardt. They say he can see the wind working around these cars, knows when and where to go, and Dale Jarrett now has the 7-time Winston Cup champion breathing right down his tailpipe.
Pressure tires on the 3. Can Dale Jarrett hold him off? That's the question right now.
Ward Burton coming up as well with those 4 fresh tires. Burton is up to 9th place with 4 fresh tires on the last pit stop. But Dale Jarrett's car continues to work well right down on the bottom of the racetrack.
He really gets the run off of turn 2, but Earnhardt's getting a good run on the high side, too. And look at Ward Burton. You mentioned him coming down on the inside there, Mike, as they head into turn 3.
He's up there racing for 7th place now.
Here he is.
Going by Tony Stewart
down on the
now.
inside.
Mike Skinner's the next victim as he comes with the 4 tires there.
There'll be 3 laps to go this time.
Trouble. Turn 4. 1 car goes sliding out of control. And Elliott Sadler saves it as the spinning car rights itself at the entrance of pit road.
Jeremy Mayfield in the 12 car.
Still no caution. Well, now they waved the caution.
Yes,
now they waved the caution. Okay, we're going to have a race back to the start-finish line here.
Jimmy Spencer is stuck against the wall coming out of the tri-oval.
This will be a race for the win right here when they get back to the start-finish line. Whoever gets back here first to win this race.
The track is clear except for Jimmy Spencer going into turn 1. He's just hobbling along, going against the walls.
And it's the Dale and Dale show at Daytona again.
Man, how many times have we seen that?
Well, Dale Jarrett's definitely going to get back to the flag first. I do believe that. He's got a great run off the corner.
Jarrett wins it. Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, Mike Skinner, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, and Ward Burton. That's the way they finish.
Well, you say he wins it. Of course, they got the caution. They still got a couple of laps to go, and if he has enough fuel now to bring him on around.
Remember 1984. Very similar situation. Doug Hevron flipped in turn 1. Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough battled side by side to the caution flag. Richard got there first. Cale was so mad the next time he came around, he pulled into the garage, but the race wasn't over. Finished third.
Remember something else, too. There was a question mark on gas mileage. This is definitely helping those cars.
And Todd Parrott telling Dale Jarrett, said stay on flat ground. Don't get it up on the banking so that the gasoline will run away from the pickup, because he knows that he's very low in gas.
Jarrett asked twice during the last caution, do I have enough gas? They wouldn't tell him. They said, just keep going. And this caution flag at 2 laps to go for a spin by Jeremy Mayfield and Jimmy Spencer sliding around the wall, that may have been the good luck to get Jarrett to victory lane after his teammate Kenny Irwin dropped the catch can from the fuel rig to bring out the caution. A piece of bad luck, a piece of good luck.
Okay, they should get the white flag this time.
And because NASCAR always gives a 1 to go when they're ready to go back to green flag racing, as they display the white flag under caution, this race cannot go back to green.
Where they give you the green right there on the left, right there on the left. See it? There you go.
Where they gave him the green, they're giving him the white
flag.
White flag.
Well, if he makes it back around, Ned, they can't pass you under the caution.
That's right. Well, it started out a 190-mile-an-hour race, and now it's become the economy run.
Yep, he's right there right now in high gear with the foot right back off the accelerator, coasting down the straightaway.
Should he run out of fuel, there's a NASCAR rule that says you can receive no assistance on the last lap of the race.
That's exactly right. No assistance on the last lap.
So nobody could push him around to the flag. Jimmy Spencer is going to make it back around after slamming up into the wall. So he is down on the apron so that the fuel pickup in that tank will get whatever fuel is there.
Exactly right. You don't want to put that gas tank in a 31-degree tilt there and maybe run out through the corner and it won't pick it back up again.
So he's a little ahead of the safety car because he wanted to get through that banking and back to the flat. So Earnhardt is second behind Dale Jarrett in a bizarre finish to what has been a thriller here at Daytona. Jeff Burton rides third. What a run from him. That provisional starting position is translated from 37th to 3rd for Jeff Burton. Mike Skinner and Bobby Labonte in the top 5. Rookie Tony Stewart, another great run. 6th place. Ward Burton took on those tires and stormed to 7th. Bobby Hamilton, Ernie Irvin, Terry Labonte are the top 10.
Half a mile to go.
The nice part is when he comes off turn 4, he can knock it out of gear and it'll coast to the flag.
I don't know.
Don't take your foot off the throttle, though.
Boy, he must be riding on fumes there almost now. According to what he's telling Todd Parrott, and Todd Parrott's telling him.
Folks, you ever stretch a tank of gas too far? Take it out of gear and coast up to traffic lights, coast it down hills, all those tricks and more. That's what Dale Jarrett's thinking right now.
You boys are the shit.
Ned, he's got it made. He can knock it out of gear now and coast on.
Okay.
I want to see that
right here.
across
You
that
are the man. Guys, awesome job. Awesome job.
Checkered flag waving Dale Jarrett scores his 21st career Winston Cup victory, his 3rd win at Daytona, and the first driver to ever win this race starting from the 12th position, and the first driver in this decade to win this race starting outside the top 10. It will stretch his Winston Cup point lead over Bobby Labonte, who finishes 5th. Dick Berggren.
Todd Parrott, how close was that on gas, really?
I don't want to know. All I know is this time we got the checkered flag. So that's the big picture. These guys did a great job. And there's the to the big guy up there, we know you went to heaven. You lost your life yesterday, but you guys did a great job. We had an awesome race car, and the smartest race car driver out there won today.
Pretty good crew chief, too. Congratulations, Todd Parrott.
He started off like a rocket and finished coasting around like a turtle, but he'll get to coast to victory lane. Let's have a look at what happened to bring out this final caution flag. Look at the top of your screen. There's Mayfield going around. Dallenbach brushed the wall.
That's Jimmy Spencer hitting the wall there. He goes the entire front straightaway right against the wall there, rubbing that car right against the outside wall.
And look at Elliott Sadler, out of control coming down pit road, but he came down pit road.
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer, Wally Dallenbach tried to catch up to miss Mayfield, got sideways, brushed the wall, and Spencer ran into the back of Dallenbach. NASCAR checks the cars as they enter pit road, checks the angle of that rear spoiler to make sure it meets the minimum.
You know, I saw the crew running down that way. He may be out of fuel.
They're coming down to push him just in case he is.
Well, it's still running, Nick.
Yeah.
Let's have a look from Wally Dallenbach at what happened to Jeremy Mayfield. Just ahead of him on the right side of your screen.
Oh, they made contact.
Mayfield spun inside, and then Wally hit the outside wall.
What you didn't see there was Spencer piling into the back of Dallenbach. From Jeremy Mayfield.
Well, you couldn't see the contact there, but you knew it was there when you started spinning sideways.
Been there, done that.
Now here's how Jeff Gordon dropped from 9th to 24th in the final scramble. And another one from turn 4. Boy, when things go wrong, they go wrong in a hurry.
Yeah, they do.
All right, top of your screen again. There's Mayfield.
Mayfield in 12. You see Wally Dallenbach up on the top side up there. He's into the wall. Jimmy Spencer runs in the back of him, turns him into the outside wall. Elliott Sadler in the 21 right there starts across the racetrack. He's fighting for control over the car. Goes to pit road, saves the car.
Does a masterful job. Got down on the flat, and that car's still out of control right there. But he's going to get it under control.
And Jeff Gordon lifted out of the throttle. 4 cars past him. You lose your momentum.
He even got down in the 3rd gear. I heard he checked up so much he got down in 3rd gear trying to miss the wrecks on the right side of his car.
Well, it's going to take 15 manpower instead of 500 horsepower to roll Dale Jarrett into Daytona victory lane.
You know, he's got to like his dad being up here in the booth. Every time we come up here, it seems like he wins.
He likes CBS doing these races, that's for sure.
Jarrett, twice a winner this year on CBS. Last month at Michigan, here at Daytona. So here comes the winner of the 41st Pepsi 400. Jarrett led 3 times for 40 laps. And now let's go to victory lane and Ken Squire.
Well, we're just about ready for the presentation of the award to Dale Jarrett. After 14 tries, he wins the 400. Here is John Graham, president of the Daytona Speedway, congratulating Dale. Sir, do you want to make the presentation?
Dale, you've been here before, 2-time winner of the Daytona 500. Now your first win in the Pepsi 400. It's my pleasure, along with Brent Franks, Vice President of the Pepsi-Cola Company, to present you with Daytona at the speed of light, the Champions Trophy of the Pepsi 400. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dale Jarrett, the champion tonight. What a great race. Never saw one with as much pressure throughout the whole thing and everybody being so poised.
Well, I tell you, my hat's off to all the competitors here tonight.
I saw a lot of give and take, and I think Rusty Wallace's words in our drivers meeting today helped things a lot. You know, he told everybody that it wouldn't hurt if you gave up a little bit and let somebody in when we got 3 wide, and that happened, and it was a clean race, and it was action-packed all night long, things going on. We had a great race car. Thank all our sponsors, Ford Quality Care, Ford Credit, Coca-Cola, Fleetwood, Motorcraft Parts, Planters Peanuts. Everybody contributes to this, and these guys down here, I'd like to take the credit. They just gave me a great race car, and it was fun racing there. I hated it had to end under the caution for the fans. I hope that it wouldn't have been any different outcome.
What about that last stop?
Oh, what a stop, man. They said they were going to give me 4 seconds of fuel, but there's no way I was stopped for 4 seconds. So I ran out coming down the backstretch after we'd gotten the checkered flag, and we were that close. Great call by Todd Parrott. That's what makes him the best man right here. That's why we're in front right now. It's because of him.
And here is Todd Parrott, just as happy as Dale Jarrett with this great victory. Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, we've caught up with Dale Earnhardt. You got the 2 right side tires. How bad would the car have been if you hadn't gotten them?
We wouldn't have finished second. That's all there is to it. We were in good shape with tires. I told him, I said, if you guys don't put tires on, I said, we're not going to finish anywhere. We'll be in the wall. And the 99 got right sides too, so it worked out in our favor. We got hooked up there and got by a couple cars, and I think just a few more laps would have got by Jarrett. He might have run out of gas too, because he was close on gas. So the caution really helped him. It helped me when we needed the caution to catch everybody else up, but then it played in Jarrett's favor there at the end. So it's just racing. We're second at Daytona again.
Bill Stevens.
Well, a lot of second places for Dale Earnhardt, a lot of cash, a lot of points, and of course 34 victories. 36 times in the last 50 years of NASCAR. The point leader at the halfway mark in the season has gone on to be the Winston Cup champion. That's where Dale Jarrett stands right now. Jarrett, 21st career win, ties him with Benny Parsons and Jack Smith on the all-time list. 3rd of this year, Dale Earnhardt. Finishing up in 2nd, Jeff Burton came from 37th to 3rd. At the checkered flag, Mike Skinner and Bobby Labonte, the top 5. Highest rookie in the race, Tony Stewart, ahead of Ward Burton, Bobby Hamilton, Rusty Wallace, and Ernie Irvin, the top 10.
So Terry Labonte got in there in the 11th, Sterling Marlin 12th, Ricky Rudd 13th. He started on the outside pole, Kenny Irvin 14th. Mark Martin finally wound up in 17th place after having to go to the rear.
Yeah, and John Andretti had a good run going, got out into the outside wall and really dropped back quite a bit.
28 cars finished on the lead lap. These drivers were 1 lap down. Ted Musgrave 2 laps down, along with Kyle Petty, Jerry Nadeau. The Waltrips well back. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Well, Jeff Burton passed 34 cars tonight. If you ever start up in front of one of these things, you're going to run away with it. How much fun is it for you to start all the way in the back like you're so used to doing?
Well, it's a challenge. When you start in the back, a lot of teams really get down about having to start in the back, but we just look at it as, it's just another race. And, these are long races. You don't have to start in front. It's better when you start in front, but it's not a necessity.
2 tires?
We took 2 tires under the green flag, and that was a big deal for the X-Side Ford. Frank Starter, my crew chief, made that call. The upside on that was we were going to pick up a lot of spots. The downside was we might lose 1 or 2 spots under that green flag run because of it. So it was a gamble worth taking. It was a great call by him.
It was. Good race for you as well. To Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick. Dale Jarrett expands his Winston Cup point lead. We'll show you by how much when we come back as he addresses the press after a big win here in the Pepsi 400, his 3rd of the season. There's only 9 laps of caution. Let's show you the final pit stop for Dale Jarrett as he coasts in to put it in first gear. Let's see how long he stopped while he can put in fuel. 2.2 seconds.
Wow. Hey, no matter how long it took, it was enough.
Barely. And the Winston Cup point standings at the midpoint. Dale Jarrett leads by 177 over Bobby Labonte. Mark Martin driving hurt in 3rd. Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, and rookie Tony Stewart having a great season is 6th. Dale Earnhardt 7th. expands that margin over Rusty Wallace with his second-place finish tonight. Ward Burton, good run, and Jeremy Mayfield fills the top 10 in points. Mike Skinner and former champ Terry Labonte. Let's go to Greg Gumbel down behind Victory Lane for final thoughts.
All right, Mike. Well, NASCAR's first ever primetime nighttime network television auto race winds up in spectacular fashion. They averaged over 169 miles an hour on the evening, 169.217 to be exact. Only 3 cautions on the evening, 1 for light rain, 1 for debris on the track, and at the end for spinning cars after averaging over 169 miles an hour. They come across the finish line at somewhere around 70 or 75 miles an hour. Dale Jarrett, his 3rd win this year, his first Pepsi 400 in search of his first Winston Cup points championship. Coming from the car, Dale Jarrett, the winner here at Daytona International Speedway tonight.